How's it going, everyone? And welcome to another episode of No Excuses with two of your favorite shows, are still.
And Willisell and no Fern, although he may or may not be here later, depending on how work treats him. We'll have to wait and see. But we're here to bring you, as usual, the latest news and views of the games industry, or we would if anything had happened. But when I was trying to do show research, I couldn't find anything I even recognised. It was just all weird, obscure indie crap that presumably can't get billing on the Doritos Pope show. But if you'd like to get involved with the show, you can do so by sending us email, noexcusesvtw@gmail.com. You can follow us on the Twitter at noexcusesvtw. You can join us in the Discord server, the best place to communicate with the show hosts and other listeners to the show, which you can get to by clicking on the link provided in the show description on the YouTube archive.
Indeed. So, today we're in Woowa. I'll probably go murder some crap. I need to murder a ton of stuff related to Dark Tide.
Since I'm not planning to, I don't have any like clear plans to build back into earlier characters, other than maybe Jeshi if she ever gets another banner. So anything will be useful to me, presumably, because we don't know what's coming out for 3.x.
Combination of buttons I hit is apparently the hotkey for enable hide UI. Yep. Right. So, this week, first half of this week was a nightmare for my work. So I don't have very much of a week, and I don't think you do either.
I had a taxing week, and it's. Oh, I think I'm stuck on terrain. I am stuck on terrain. Okay, I need to reset my position. It's not at the. It's not at the point where we're busy. It's at the point where our staff has been cut so badly that I'm just physically having to do so many different jobs that there's just not time for anything, and it's quite frustrating. It's not. It would be one thing if there was a lot of work coming in, but there's not. It's hard for the stupid reason that we're understaffed. Nothing to be done about that, though. It is what it is. I accidentally touched this move fast thing and I ended up somewhere else. Anyway, yeah. So while the sort of like the total quantity of work that needs to get done is not like appreciably more than what you might normally expect, it has become quite a bit more tiring than it might otherwise have been, simply by merit of the fact that I have to be everywhere at all times. I don't have such things to deal with as, say, safety cages on ladders.
Goodness,
But
I'm going to talk about those.
But I do have a dire need to learn how to clone myself like a Naruto character, because I need to be in so many places simultaneously. But unfortunately, I have yet to master this trick, so yeah, it is what it is. Gaming-wise, you know, the expected, I suppose, case occurs where I just don't have much time to do anything. In the case of Blue Archive, there's like literally nothing happening this week. I think that the new summer event for Trinity might be next week. So they're basically doing nothing at the moment, waiting for that. So I expect that Aristil will roll up, pull for Saya in her car, and then log off and then not touch it again until the next time Saya comes out. But yeah, I don't really participate in any of the complexities of that game anymore, because I've got too many other things that I'm busy doing to fuss about with the fine details of the Blue Archive meta, and a lot of it involves molding over the AI anyway. So yeah. So this week there was basically no story or events to speak of. It was just cleaning up whatever was currently running from the previous week, because it's joint firing drill week and everybody hates joint firing drill. It turns out it's not just me. Everybody hates it. Like, when it's joint firing drill week, everybody's like, groan, really? Am I
E-
going to do it this week or not?
Even the people that like to mold it at the start when it like was still, and they might have enjoyed it at first, have got to be over it by now.
I haven't ever heard anybody say anything nice about it. There are some people who do, go through the motions, come up with the optimal strategy, and max out their points uh, each cycle. But I haven't seen people competing on it anymore. Maybe they still do, in like niche communities or something. But I don't see people competing for best score or anything like they once upon a time used to. Just seems to not be a thing. But yeah, anyway, so that's that one. I still haven't touched any of the whatchamacallits, events in ZZZ, like the bamboo chest, the golden robot thing. Like, it's just not inspiring to me. They've if it had been like a full version since we last saw them, that would be one thing, but it hasn't been. It's been a couple patches before they started recycling, and that bothers me. I haven't sort of like reaccumulated the urge to
Oh,
deal with it. What level is it?
120.
Oh dear, oh dear. Nope, I got one shot.
Oh, Sonic got one shot.
Like, the thing is, I can't actually play conservatively using Chisa the way I can with Shorekeeper. So I was able to keep the fight going pretty much indefinitely if I was playing Shorekeeper, but Chisa does not really do that. Also, my headphones really don't like this game. I think it's actually because the amount of data embedded in the stream going to the headphones is actually way higher than average. Like, there's a lot of positional data and depth to the sound that wouldn't be there otherwise. So the bit rate is incredibly high. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? I can either stay alive or attack. Like, I can't work out where he's going to hit. He just seems to hit everything around him anytime he attacks.
One of the fucking crocodiles. I'm gonna run around
Well, the
like
thing
chick. Oh no, I died.
I've spent zero time fighting any mobs here. Like, this is the first time I've even fought one.
Oh,
I did what they do.
the crocodiles are super obnoxious. Where was that crocodile? Oh, he's way over there.
We're gonna do this, are we? Okay.
Oh,
Why me?
I was flying over, and I guess he aggroed on me, and you were the only valid target in range. Just get some Frez on him without dying, Phoebe. Oh, I said without dying, Phoebe.
I don't know what even hit me, because when I fell to the ground, he was not anywhere near me. I guess I have to deal with the amount of damage that's coming in on your screen, though, not on mine. So, because latency is still a thing. In Wua, I play with 260 milliseconds. So, multiplayer is tough.
This is
That's why I'm
probably.
always toying with the idea of getting Starlink.
Ozani.
thank goodness.
Oh, no, 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 no. Have 35 HP.
Unfortunately, I have to be attacking in order to heal, so...
Almost stacked. Oh, no, no, I'm down. Just run. E. Fast as I can.
Oh, no, I got hit.
Oh, no, I think
you got there in time. The Graveyard Zerg at its finest. So when you move from using Shorekeeper's 40,000 point hit point pool to a normal one, it's difficult to adapt.
I think our buddy might have.
It's bugged out.
I think he didn't like his graveyard Zerg him. Yeah, he froze for like a solid 15, 20 seconds there. I hate them mofos. Actually, I like to fight them. They're a lot of fun, but they're far and away the hardest mob. It's just a normal trash mob.
It would be a great deal easier to fight them if I didn't have to see a quarter of a second into the future. But yes, anyway. So I haven't really done much in ZZZ. I did the go on 4 dates with Ye Guang event. And they didn't exactly bury the lead on that one. They are definitely dates.
Yeah, they are.
And the internet commentariat was furious, which amused me greatly and made me enjoy it all the more.
Yeah, Burnett Wowo is seems to be dividing the community a lot.
Yeah, but it's only dividing people into bad people and everybody else, so... Like, it's the overall impression that I've gotten is that there are people who are very, very mad that she is not a homosexual and everybody else. I mean, if you play Belle, I mean, it's not going to make any difference, is it? But apparently they don't like that either, so...
Maybe they somehow see it as too platonic.
Well, I think that the problem is that they don't like the fact that most of the players, the player base, are male. This fundamentally offends them. So they always see the main character as being male by proxy, no pun intended.
I see. I mean, who they gonna ship her with besides Wise? Like,
You don't want to know the answer to that question.
like the only other boy there is the panda, and the only other girl, you're not shipping her with Shifu.
No,
that doesn't make sense.
There is one other male. That's the problem.
Oh, kill these people.
Yeah.
Please go DIAF.
But yeah, it do be that way. I have to do Bamboo Chess. They attracted quite a bit of negative attention when it was discovered that when you engage in multiplayer Bamboo Chess, it sends your player ID and your IP address to
Unencrypted.
everybody who is who is participating. Yeah, unencrypted. But I don't see any reason to believe it hasn't always been this way. So I'm sort of surprised that it took them this long to figure that one out. I'm not sure anybody really cares. I'm sure there are umpteen ways to get a person's IP if you really want to. I mean, the whole script kiddie thing wouldn't have been a thing without that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, I deeply resent the idea of being forced to do bamboo chess. But this has become more and more my attitude to a lot of the sort of patented Hoyo minigame events. Is that I just resent being asked to play a game that isn't the main game that I'm playing.
Like
Like
there's
it's not what I'm here for.
yeah, they had flipping what you call it. Um there's a series called Yakuza that makes that shtick with all the mini games and stuff. But every other game out there, you buy the game to play the main video game.
Yeah, I just don't want them recycled either. Like I don't actually mind if it's once in a while, or even once a major version, I could stomach that. But when they just like, oh well, we couldn't think of anything this version, so we're just gonna make you play match 3 again. It's like, why? Why are you doing this? It's
Like,
not what I asked for.
I would prefer they expand on their bigger events that tie more closely to the gameplay. Like if they would just keep expanding on the storyline of Golden Bamboo and taking that further, I wouldn't mind that. It's still adjacent to the gameplay we're used to. If they expanded on the Pokemon event in HSR, I wouldn't mind that. It's still adjacent to the game we're used to.
I'm really bewildered as to why they've left that completely fallow. I can only assume that they're afraid that they're going to transgress one of Nintendo's gajillion patents or something like that.
Hang on, I think I wound up out in the weeds, away from. Yeah, I did, way away from where the dudes are.
Because they definitely didn't exactly cover up what their inspiration was for that event.
Yeah,
So
no,
I don't know. Maybe they're concerned about legal things, but the reality is people really liked that. Well, in retrospect, people really liked that. At the time, they only complained because that's all people ever do at the time. But in retrospect, people enjoyed it. So why they then just decided, you know what, we're never going to do anything with that, is beyond me. I don't get it at all.
yeah, I don't really know. It's adjacent to the normal type of gameplay. It's why people would play it. You do some fun storylines in there. You could have more Sujimon or whatever to collect. I don't
It's
think
not as though it's too unserious for Star Rail or something like that.
like
Like I don't know how unserious you would have to get before something became too unserious for Star Rail.
yeah, who knows? Maybe in the new region they had a whole bunch of that crap planned. We may never know now.
Yeah. Anyway, so ZZZ's pretty much not going anywhere for me right now. I'll get caught up eventually, I'm sure, because I have to, kind of, in order to get enough whatchamacallits polychromes to pull for Yashin Guang in the next patch. But I really, really wanted Dylan, but I can only really pick one without becoming a money player like Aristil. So
If it was any other patch, I would say you've got a lot of value out of the game. But this particular patch, I would dissuade people spending money to punish them for it being bad. I don't really care what the extenuating circumstances are that made it this way. I kind of don't want them to make any money off this patch.
yeah, the thing is with Dylan is that she represents a major distortion in the meta, like a really really big one.
Her
She's
output numbers are just
she's
too
bis
high.
for, yeah, she's bis for every team, even teams that don't want a stunner. That's a major design gaffe. Like that's outside the territory of her just being a powerful push character, and well into the territory of they made a mistake. Like we've seen this before play out a few times with various characters, but she can force characters out of their niche and replace them, even though she doesn't overlap with that niche, simply because she generates too much of a force multiplier for every single team. The only exception that I've seen people say with any confidence is that Trigger, in most cases, is slightly better for Sanbi than Dylan is. And that's largely because Sanbi's ultimate is no big deal. It's pretty much, in terms of output, it's not very far away from her EX skill to begin with. So that's pretty, and she's a major output character, so you're going to not see as much of a difference, and Trigger just happens to be a perfect fit for the revamped version of Sanbi, much like she was a good fit for the original version. So I can sort of see why that is, but the reality is she's sort of behind Trigger by a single digit percentage. So if the only strategy you ever did was just assume in any given team that Dylan is a fixed position, you can build any team around Dylan, it will be the best one. And that's a really, really, really bad sort of meta position to be in, because it basically takes away creativity and player expression, which a new character should add creativity and player expression to the game, not remove it, which is what this character has done, because she's always going to be the best. So the only decision you then end up making is which team has to take the second best character as opposed to the best one.
Yeah, it's kind of she's so we got Kingi back in 1.0, and she was strong for the time because she was very early when we got her. She was like the second limited character, I think, maybe the third. And the big thing about Kingi then was you could see potential in how if that kit gets taken further and you do more wacky crap to improve the stun window, the character could break. And Dylan is what happens when that finally happens. Plus the
Yeah,
free
so
ultimate.
I mean, it might not stay this way. Like it's possible that they will counter signal her really hard, or that a certain amount of this is an unforeseen outworking of the shilling that she's getting right now, and she'll get counter shield really hard going forward. But as a qualitative matter, what she does is too large. Like when it comes to numbers, well, numbers are not going to power creep people because of gimmicks, right? A gimmick can overcome a number by creating a variety of other numbers in other locations. But the problem is that her gimmick is too strong. It basically adds another kind of number because it adds ultimate obtained by means other than echo generation, which I bet was not in the original design doc for ZZZ. The original design doc, after all, only allowed one character per team to use an ultimate. And now you've got one ultimate per chain attack. Like, you've moved multiple degrees down the road in terms of power creep by doing that. Now, the way that I think that they thought that this would be neutralized was that they will make her play into Ye Shunguang so hard that people are going to always have her in that team, so she's not going to contaminate the power level of other teams. But that's just the same problem that Star Rail has, basically, where characters are too good of a fit for each other.
Yeah, and then even if things like Tribby and Hyacine are calibrated for the Remembrance teams, their output is still so high that Cotton Candy Barbara is still the best character in the game.
Well, Tribby wasn't calibrated for Remembrance streams. Tribby was calibrated for the erudition archetype that sort of imploded because they accidentally made an Axa too good. And now it's become the Anaxa archetype. But the Anaxa archetype is so far behind the Castris archetype that it basically is not really a live thing, because Castris herself has just got too powerful due to every second character being released, basically making her team stronger.
Like, oh, put out another main DPS, but can it beat the Shoop Dragon?
Well, I mean, it might not beat the Shoop Dragon, but it might also be tailor-made to make the Shoop Dragon better. Like
Yeah.
Evernight, for instance. Like, Everknight's never going to beat the Shoop Dragon, but putting Evernight with the Shoop Dragon does beat the Shoop Dragon without Evernight. By a
Yeah.
pretty hefty margin, too.
Yeah, no. Like everybody else, I run the the Umbrella Shoot Dragon team when I really need to clobber something good.
No, not like everybody else. A lot of people don't because there are too many ideal characters in that team. Like, when was the last time a Glide got another power additive character? Like, it's just Cyrene, and Cyrene doesn't count because she's designed to add to the whole stable of Crisis Airs.
I mean, for
Other
my
than that, she got nothing.
for my personal account, Cyrene is an Aglaya partner. Is this
But
stupid
that's
dragon doing?
basically face planting altogether too hard into the sort of the combo archetype. And I can sort of understand the temptation to do it because it's a design space that is much easier to work in. Like, if you try and go too generic with characters, then you get yourself into the opposite problem, which is where you have Dylan, and that a character will be released with just best for every team. When Ruan Mei came out, she was kind of like that. It's just the game meta had not developed to the point where that mattered a great deal. But yeah, I had intended to get Dylan on the rerun because I like her, like I like the character Dylan, but it's looking more and more like she's just raised the power level of the game by herself, and so not getting her would be a huge mistake. So yeah, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. I like the sort of like shameless Shansha uh aesthetic that Ye Guang has, so I'll probably still focus on getting her first, but unless something happens to the way the meta is, I pretty much just have to set aside polychromes for Dylan once I've got Ye Guang. It seems almost nonsensical to go any other route. Man, the sort of weird audio artifacts that are occurring here are very hard to keep up with. Maybe I should change my codec. If I do that, is it going to blow up my Bluetooth?
Oh,
Let's just launch my other.
now we can finally
Right.
go.
We'll see if using. So the thing is that I use those expensive noise cancelling Sony headphones, right? But Sony has their own codec that they use for audio compression, and so you've got to sort of translate from the inferior Windows codec over to the native one, which creates a little lag. But the Sony codec, while it is extremely good at what it does, it's also really slow compared to other codecs. So yeah, it's a question of whether what's worse, the Sony codec or the uh, translation of the base codec. But in the end, I'm pretty sure what's going to come out in the wash is that the Bluetooth drivers for Windows are terrible. That's what's going to win. I'm getting a lot of dinosaur echoes here, but I'm pretty sure I don't have any characters that use them. In fact, I think there's only one character that does.
Well, uses one of its two sets. I think it dropped two fire sets, and Galbraini uses the Flamewing set, and she's the only one.
But yeah, so ZZZ sort of like borrowed trouble that it didn't need to by making Dylan too splashy. I think that they could have come up with something a bit better than that, than just like giving people access to ults that they don't otherwise have access to. That seems kind of extreme, but you know, I don't know. We'll see where they go. Um,
It is a power creep issue, and it does potentially open some cans of worms, but it's not the most intractable problem that they could have caused themselves.
well, it's not really about whether or not it by itself is an intractable problem. That's never the case with these things. The problem is, well, what does this reveal about their design psychology and philosophy? Like, how do they think about what is and is not necessary to do in any given circumstance?
Beating me up.
Because I mean, no matter whether Dylan herself is an intractable problem, and she's not, because there really aren't any in a format like this. The issue is if they can make a what appears to be a brazen error, like power creeping every stunner and support in the game simultaneously. Like, what does that mean? Are they trying to re-level the entire playing field of power? Because that's what this is functionally going to do. Like, how do you, in that world, how is Lucy relevant? How is Fufu relevant? How is Chingy relevant? How is Astra relevant? How is Lucia relevant? Like, all of them have been outplayed by a Dylin. Like, Lucia was one patch ago. Like, I mean, of course you're going to have a situation where, well, you're hyper carrying, so you're going to put two on one team, right? But in absolute terms, Dylan is better than every other supporter in the game. It's like, well, was that deliberate? Was that actually the intention setting out? Did they know that that was what they were doing? Because there are two answers to that question. One answer is yes, and the other answer is no, and both of them have a certain amount of meaning, and you can interpret their way of thinking based on that. So it's that's why it's a question worth asking. It's not just a case of, oh, well, you can just put blind faith in the developers of ZZZ because they don't make mistakes, right? It's not like they came up with Arpeggio Fault or anything.
Not what I said, but the what you call
Well, I
it?
didn't say you said that. That's not what I said. But there are the defenders of Hoyo are saying that.
Yeah,
That's like, oh no, well there is no power creep in ZZZ. It doesn't happen. I guess they just buff characters for fun, right?
the thing with Dylan that sticks out in particular is her high number output on top of everything else that makes this feel like a genuine.
Yeah, that was what I didn't like the most about her. I could have dealt with everything else were it not for the fact that Fufu is a new character and does like 1/4 the damage on field that Dylan does. But why?
Yeah, I that's why I think this was a genuine gaff because it doesn't.
This dinosaur's gonna fucking kill me.
I'm coming. I went to go get a flower or something, and I don't know how much to interpret off of what seems just like a genuine cock up.
Well, the thing is, it's not like these characters don't go in beta and they get feedback.
Yeah, I don't I don't follow any of that kind in the feedback. Maybe you've seen it, but
I have seen it, and the beta feedback for Dylan is this is too powerful. It needs to go back to the workbench and be reviewed because it upsets the entire balance of the game and makes everything about, well, when you assess a character, your criteria for assessment is no longer how does the character work as a package. It all has to be assessed in light of if I can do an alt every chain attack, how much more powerful is this character in that context? Like it now one of the base design assumptions is forced to be how does this character interact with Dylan? That's not an assumption really for Qingyi. It's not an assumption for Astra. It's not an assumption for Fufu, but it is something really important to assess for Dylan because Dylan allows you to use heaps and heaps of alts that you wouldn't otherwise be able to use. Your entire combat pacing, because I have to assume that they think about, okay, so we can assume that they're not going to start a deadly assault with their alt available type of thing, and that they can generate decibels at a certain rate. Therefore, they will be able to use, it's level 120, aren't they? Yeah, they are.
these things are
We can
really
make certain.
are easier though. We could probably take these.
I mean, they're going to be able to make certain assumptions about what they can and can't what a player can and can't do at various points during a fight after various times have passed during different phases and so on. those assumptions will cease to be valid because of Dylan. And they're not going to be unaware of that, but it does sort of change the game in a way that I don't think is like long term healthy.
I think that there's one read on this that is really cynical and might be the correct one, and one read that is more hopeful and optimistic. And I keep every time ZZ's design decisions come up, I keep coming back to they are the worst performing of all the games. This is the cynical read, and that they just felt like they needed to make some money, especially when they knew what they were.
They wanted to bleed everybody dry of polychromes immediately before the waifu character.
Yeah, before the big push character, because they need to make some dosh to make themselves look better on the Hoyo spreadsheets, because Hoyo's currently got 80 guerrilla new games coming out. Their three current games are not getting near the support they should be for the amount of funds that company has, and they are doing the worst of those three. So to make sure they don't lose funding, they need to show they can pull revenue. That's the 100% cynical read. The more optimistic and hopeful read is this was a genuine cock up because they were doing all the other rewrite and other shenanigans in this, and while the team should be separate, the directors may have been monofocused on one thing and just not had time to push the change before launch. I would almost lean towards the more cynical side on this particular line of thunk. I don't know if there's anything up here. Anything? Oh, there's some dragons over here. But yeah, it really does. Anytime the ZZ team makes a cock up, the biggest worry I have is especially when it's one that's going to make them money, because
Marketing department did it.
yeah, it's either the marketing department and they are, or internally their whole team is terrified of losing funding and having staff cut because they're doing the worst. And I
I
mean,
wouldn't think that they would be so alert about that, considering how many completely unproven projects they're hiring for at the moment.
yeah, well, at the same time, I wonder if that's got some kind of fire lit under their butt and would make them even more worried. Because what if one of those start outperforming them as well?
I don't know how they're going to perform. Period. Let alone outperform. It seems like they're trying to slice the market into too many pieces.
Yeah, I thought they hit, you know, company saturation point with, for the West it's 3 games, for the East it's 4 games because nobody in the West plays fucking Third Impact. I think trying to find a Diggy Duggy to stick on his head. Yeah, he was.
I don't know what he's doing.
When he tries to find a Diggy Duggy to stick on his head, he goes invulnerable. Down the hill. Yeah, it's I'm always worried because I feel like the ZZ team is primed to fall into that trap by their marketing team and their paper pushers.
That seems like such a stupid thing to be afraid of, like in like sort of like abstract terms, because they're like 10th best performing gacha in the world, which means that they
Yeah,
only make millions of dollars a month.
yeah, but on their internal sheets is what I'm worried about. I don't know how these companies in China operate and whether that's as
I mean,
big
the
a
thing
deal.
is that if they lose their job, what are they going to do? Go work for another gacha company? Like
Yeah,
they will be a lucrative commodity if they go back on the market. The way that you know how companies in China operate. Are they going to want to let their company's methods escape?
yeah, but yeah, and then there's still the thunks internally of you got unless you want to waste all your boss pulls, want to rid of that thing.
I don't know how many I have left. I don't think there's any bosses I'm hunting right now because I'm not pulling new characters at the moment.
I do need to bop that thing a few times. Need both sets it drops, I think, or at least one of them. Oh, he jumped far. Don't do that to Phoebe. What Phoebe ever do to you, Mr. Crocodile? Meat bosses, I need to murder. Go.
I don't think we ever even fought it.
Healing bonus.
I got healing bonus as well.
We're just gonna have to cash it out. But yeah, it's just yeah. The other thing is the ZZZ team really likes their game. I think that's pretty obvious from the amount of effort they put in after 4.0, and them wanting to make sure their game can secure funding to make it good is also a thing.
Well, when Honkai Impact Third was the lifeline for MiHoYo, I mean, I'm sure they really liked their game too, but that didn't stop them having the worst power creep of any gacha I've ever played.
Yeah. Well, it's also that ZZZ's been relatively good so far. Like like Chicken Shifu was uh, a step up, but Miyabi existed before them. Miyabi was a step up, but that was part of a reset.
Miyabi's still more powerful than Shifu is.
Is she?
Yeah. Like Shifu's at best level with Miyabi. There are certain contexts in which Shifu's better, but there are just as many contexts in which Miyabi is better. Like there is basically no raise in the power ceiling between the two of any note. I don't know what it looks like if you're talking in terms of like M7. That's a different kettle of fish. But Shifu is not a significant increase in power. Like she can do a certain amount of bullcrap if you play her perfectly and do, you know, a triple alt versus Miasma Priest, but like when is that relevant really? It's the apparent power that Shifu has is mostly because of shill context. She doesn't change any mechanics really the way that Dylan does. Because Dylan changes the mechanics for every other character in the game.
Yeah. So they've been really good about it so far. Aside from people on Miyabi's level of power, we haven't seen anybody really come out that just breaks things. I mean, you could try and say Astra was that for supports, but that's more than of a case of just there were no supports before Astra.
Well, Astra's just a more powerful version of Lucy. She's the 5-star Lucy.
Yeah.
That any place that she accommodates in a team, except for teams like an Evelyn team that's depending entirely on chaining in. Like for every other team, she's just a flat attack buff that allows you to play a 2-person team rather than a 3-person team. That's not really dramatic because you've sort of got to cut off one of your limbs in order to use her.
Yeah, and even then, she does add power to the team, but it's not to such an egregious percent that Lucy's numbers aren't still visible. You're not out of the ballpark of Lucy yet. And who else do people say is really strong? People thought Fufu was terrible until like 2 patches ago.
No, people still think Fufu is terrible. People thought Fufu was terrible before Dylan, and people think Fufu is terrible after Dylan. There has never been a time where I have not seen people saying Fufu was terrible.
Uh, let's see. Uh, uh, Ari's strong, but not that strong. Sia's archetype based. Sanbi needed help when she came out because she had shoes. trigger was the introduction of Aftershock. Um, don't know if we can really count anything 1.3 onwards because Miyabi Power Shift and the fact that those characters had basically nobody to compete against.
I think this is why everybody's so focused on Dylan, because she's the first, like, definitive table flip of the way things are done.
I got 2 crit rates out of that. That's good enough. Murdering one more time, I guess. Oh, got this one. Crit rate one. Okay. But yeah. So yeah, that's what I mean. I can't think of anything that's been just super egregious power creep. And like if Dylin had Fufu numbers and allowed you to do the free ult, yeah, she would have optimal use cases in a whole lot of teams and be super good. But it's just the numbers on top of that. I think because she's not a hit it and forget it character, you do have to keep her on field a little bit to get the full combo off. So I could see that being in the original design document to balance around, but what I don't get is how her numbers stayed so high on top of it.
Yeah, because I mean, her damage is sort of like, I would say she probably does more on-field damage than most of the damage dealers from 1.0.
Yeah, she definitely does like more than pre-buff Ellen.
I don't know. That seems like a bad precedent to me. Like, because you've not only have you upset a major sort of defining mechanic of the game, but at the same time you have sort of raised the minimum power level acceptable from a support that is on field. Because let's be real, there's not really that much difference between the stun and the support archetypes. They just support in different ways. But she power creeps all of them, and that's kind of bothersome. But that basically means that a character I was hoping to pull is now a character that I have to pull. Because I mean, what the real question is, into this environment, you are going to at some point in the future release other stunners and other supports. So how do you do that exactly? What do you have to give them in order to make them preferred over Dylin?
Gotta either bolt on gimmicks or make the numbers bigger. But the problem is Dylan's gimmick is really strong.
Her gimmick is not merely strong; it's meta defining. Like every meta team now has the Dylin version and the not Dylin version.
Yeah. Uh, it'll be a while before we can tell really how they're going to deal with the shoe because the next character coming out is Banyue, and Banyue is explicitly designed to be wacky.
Yeah,
Like
he's supposed to be the high skill cap character for people who just want to workshop forever.
yeah, and I would be into that, but identifies with penises. And then you got after that you've got Burnett Wowo. And
Yeah, I mean, she's got very fancy animations and all, like very Shansha animations, but these are all cribbed straight out of Honkai Impact Third, and it's sort of mildly hipster irritating to me to see people gushing about how incredible they are. And it's like, yeah, they just copied all of these basically, and the way that they interplayed with Shu Shang's mechanics was actually more interesting than what Yoshinguang does.
did the Honkai
Yoshinguang
Impact?
basically, huh?
Oh, and Honkai Impact Third was the same character, like the same floppy-eared big sister Popo type, or was it a totally different?
It was it was Susheng. Uh, Susheng and Honkai Impact Third is a little bit different from Susheng and Star Rail. Susheng and Star Rail, I would say, is ironically basically a younger version. Um, I would say Susheng's a bit more of a meathead than Yeshengguang is, but they're both sort of like they both occupy the niche of the brunette senior martial artist character in the martial arts school under the Shifu.
Okay,
Like they fill the exact same position in the ecosystem.
just one of them has Popo ears and ZZZ.
Yeah, and the memory loss thing was pinched from the Shifu of Honkai Impact Third rather than from Susheng. But there's like a gazillion overlaps. The whole thing seems extremely cribbed, and the fighting style is the same as well. Although rather than the occasional incidental striking of a pose standing on a sword, which seems to be more or less what Yeshengguang does. Basically, when Susheng goes into that phase in Honkai Impact Third, it transforms the battlefield into one where basically you're only stepping on the pommel of swords. You fill the battlefield with swords, and then you basically teleport from sword to sword as you fight. It's sort of like an alternate movement system that gets implemented for the duration of that ability. But yeah, so it's basically a glow up of the same thing.
I have not seen the
It's
Elite
not
Combat
terribly
Kit.
original.
I haven't seen the Elite Combat Kit for Run Up Wobo. So
Um, it's basically she shifts between normal form and white form, and in normal form she fights more or less like a normal attack character for the most part. And in the white form she does all of like the like ridiculously over the top Shansha Chinese fantasy moves, where she calls like thousands of swords from the heavens, Bleach style, to land on the opponent type of thing.
yeah, so we're gonna get her, and she's the most obvious push character the game's had since Miyabi.
The thing that's notable about her, I would say, in this context, like this immediate context, is that she doesn't have any really key gimmicks, which means that what's going to define her usefulness is just raw numerical output.
Yeah. So like if any character was going to power creep, would expect it to be her. Um, I, so it being Dylan was kind of surprising when it came out, and I'm not included in the
But
Twitter.
it, it seems to be that Dylan is basically going to be she exists to be a method of shifting between Yeshengguang's forms, because she has basically those two forms, but the alt is what triggers you to move between them.
mm-hmm,
So one of them will do a big move and put her in white form, and then using her alt in white form is going to do a big move and then put it back into base form.
mm-hmm.
So presumably Dylan is designed to sort of grease the wheels of her shifting between forms.
If it had the caveat on Dylan's gimmick that it only worked with rupture agents, it would make a lot more sense.
Or even if it was just like even if it was like a decibel discount, as opposed to actually this doesn't even interplay with the decimal system at all. It disconnects alts from decimal accrual.
Or
Is
a once per
or even
combat
even if
clause or
it set,
something.
even if it set you to 0. Like, oh, you can use the alt anytime. It's just going to put you back on 0 for alt accumulation. But no, you can just keep using them.
Go down this direction.
But they did do extensive testing, and their testing environment internally is going to include, the designs of later characters, that the testing environments that playtesters don't have access to, etc., etc. They have a better picture of what the game's supposed to look like long term. Though, again, as we've said earlier, to what extent the marketing department can determine the direction is unclear.
Yeah. My earlier thunks aside for a sec. It could also be just that Hoyo's got 50 grillion games coming out and want all of their games to make as much money as possible because they need to somehow fund all of these.
I just don't understand why you would try and move in so many directions at once. It's true that they're a big and wealthy company, but most big wealthy companies don't try and do quite this much simultaneously.
And the other thing is with Hoyo the way it is right now, um, they haven't had a game get EOS yet, in as far as I know, any region.
I can't remember what is their first one still running? I don't even know. I
Oh,
know Gun Girl is still running.
yeah. So they might have maybe their very old ones like Gun Girl Z and stuff might have got EOS in some regions, but all their 3D
No,
ones, I think,
Gun Girl Z, it was only ever really in one region, and it hasn't been EOS and still has fanatics playing it.
yeah. So
Mostly people who are fans of Sin Mal who didn't get very good billing in Honkai Impact Third.
yeah. So but definitely their 3D ones I don't think have had problems yet. If they release all these modern things and some of them don't stick and some of them start
Somebody's
EO,
gonna get somebody's gonna get the cut.
yeah, and that's going to send a message, especially to your Western player base who aren't as used to investing in EOS games, unless you're playing Pinecone and Crunchyroll. Um,
But actually, I mean, I see where you're going with this, but there's one other thing that we don't have any information about, and that's unlike a lot of other companies of similar size, they haven't gone through one of these sort of blooms before. So we don't know if they will sometimes just axe a product before it gets launched. If it's like,
yeah,
no, development on this is going bad, or no, this actually feels like a dead end, or no, somebody stole a march on us, this is too much like our product, we're not going to be able to get traction. Like other companies kill games. Like for instance, Blizzard is famous for it. But it's possible that not all of these will see the light of day. I mean, if there's one thing that Hoyo has always been big on, it's the hype cycle.
yeah,
And the Western approach has always been to keep things like pretty under wraps until you've got like pretty good confidence that it's going to come out.
yeah.
And the times that people haven't done that have often gotten burned, like Project Titan, for instance.
Oh, oh,
Oh,
coming.
maybe I shouldn't have done that.
I was analyzing the situation from above. That you were just going in hot. Okay. You know what? I don't know what I was expecting you to do there, but that was not it. With that yank into that particular spot,
Well, the Yank's always going to end up on my location. If there's a place you prefer for me to stand, I can do that.
right there.
It's a small, movable target, so it's easier to deal with than some of the other enemies.
I was just I was readying a Zani counter for one that looked like it was in its attack animation, and then it just yoink. I don't know where it was going, but its attack is now
Like,
no longer where I
normally, I
thought it
don't have to
was.
worry about. Normally, I don't have to worry about moving boss tier characters, but those were like little midget drakes, so they would move wherever I was.
Well, let me bookmark this spot on my map. There's an interactable here. Needs the widgets. Ordered them. I'm
I like
here.
those boxes.
Have my
Those
circle.
boxes are a good way to get an injection of materials.
Because the gladiators are so spread out, I don't know if it's actually more efficient, but it does feel better to open them.
Yeah, you feel like you're getting a lot of stuff, so I appreciate it.
Oh no, my my plant circle was on cooldown, so instead of dropping a circle on the new dudes, I just teleported back to my old circle zillions of miles away.
Yeah, so ZZC sort of like suspended in my mind at the moment. It's like, well, what are they going to do now? They've sort of set a precedent of sorts, and I kind of want to know what they're going to do with it. So, you know, Yeshunguang's still on the the pull the pull ledger. My biggest criticism of her really is that her personality is a tad on the bland side. Like she had hints of having a keen mind behind her sort of like vapid exterior, but they didn't really do anything with it per se.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was her or if that was your boy Ching Ming's sword, though.
No, I mean like occasionally she will just see through somebody who's trying to pull the wool over her eyes because they think she's a vapid airhead. But she spends a lot of time acting like a vapid airhead, and the explanation is nominally that, oh, well, she's extremely sheltered because she spends all her time training on a mountain instead of having any experience of the world. Okay, that's all well and good, but so far you're just trying to sell this character on waifu power, and while I appreciate me a good waifu, um, she doesn't have much of a personality to speak of. She doesn't. It's sort of hard to say. Like the most compelling thing that you ever see her do is that final scene in the story.
Yeah, the still image at the end. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that's
thing
like
that
literally the only thing that says anything about her character.
it's not just that she's a vapid airhead. I normally like the vapid airhead characters a lot. That they're usually the most fun. But she's the boring type of vapid airhead.
Who just doesn't know anything.
Yeah, she's not the one that's a vapid airhead because she's her brain power is dedicated to being a fun, happy girl. It's because her brain power is dedicated to being a ditz, or not a ditz. That would be closer to the fun side. No, she's just kind of dumb because she's so doesn't know anything, just head empty, could not pass an IQ test. But even that's not quite expressing it because it's just more boring than that.
Yeah, I mean, because there are plenty of characters like that, like Chisei from Blue Archive is completely seems completely empty-headed most of the time, and just the only thing that she does is come up with bad haikus off the cuff. That's like her whole thing. And half of the residents of Yakiako simp after her for reasons that are never explained. But at least this is a sort of it's sort of like a character gimmick for her, as opposed to feeling like they forgot to plug the personality module in.
Yeah. Like the only things that are gonna make me pull for her are I like ZZ's gameplay generally, and she's a push character, so it would be a bad idea not to get her. And because her floppy ears remind me of Wopo. That's
I mean,
literally it.
I'll pull her because she's pretty and her combat animations are like top shansha aura farming. But there's nothing particularly endearing about her as a person in the story, because I don't know if that's because we haven't seen it yet or because she's just designed to be inoffensive. I don't really know. Like as a character that makes you want to spend more time with her, Dylan was much better because she's got agendas and she's got motivations and she's got habits and strengths and failings,
I can let you know when your phone is linging.
and she will certainly never stop letting me know my phone is linging. But yeah, Xinguang just doesn't really do anything except express express unearned affection for the main character repeatedly.
Yeah. Like
I don't know if this is like a victim of the rewrites or something,
it feels like
because
everything about Burnett Wovo and her brother just something feels like it was just kind of jumbled around way too much there.
like, there are scenes like the scene where she is, and this is one of the unvoiced scenes, the scene where she is pretending to give fortune readings outside the temple.
Yeah.
Like, what is the purpose of that scene? It's
I
clearly trying to tell you something about her, but it's not connected to anything before or after. It just sort of happens.
Yeah, this is one of the things that threw me off on tracking the subject that things were related to at first, because fucking that scene seems like it was shoehorned in there with the express purpose of doing something for Burnett Wowo, because whatever their rewrites had done had moved enough stuff out of place that they couldn't get the characterization across that they wanted. So they needed to have some kind of other way to have more screen time and attachment to the protagonist. Crocodile. Oh, ow. That crocodile is very, very good at doing its counterable spinny dive attack right when Phoebe is doing her third hit of her combo. That's the big laser beam that stays on screen for like a full second. So he inevitably dives right into it and gets countered. If I'd known that when I needed to do, well, I didn't have Phoebe when I was doing all the counter challenges for him, so it wouldn't have mattered. But yeah, I'm not sure what they're going to end up with her. I think in my brain I've kind of written off this patch and the next patch as going to be a little scuffed. The ZZZ team has pulled out of problems before. I don't know if they'll be able to this time because of the nature of the shoes, but
Yeah,
fine.
it's all very strange. Are you trying to attack the NPCs?
I was trying to kill the friendly Cuddlewaddles. I'm sorry for Cuddlewaddles,
It's not very civil of you.
but yeah, we'll have to see. I'm I know they have the potential to pull out still. Uh, Watching Star Rail also have the potential to pull out of a spiral after performing well and then crashing several times and keep tripping over their feet does make me worried though.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's sort of the reason why I'm so troubled by the current state of ZZZ is because it seems because I had sort of hoped that they would stay on an even keel while HSR's got troubles, but I guess we'll move on to that next. So nothing happened, of course, in HSR this week because we're at the end of a patch. However, the previous stream happened this week, and basically we got confirmation that they're extending the whatchamacallit, the 3.8 patch to 8 weeks rather than the normal 6, which, I mean, it doesn't really seem like long enough to resolve the magnitude of the issues that they're dealing with. But I mean that's what they've allocated, and it's possible they simply don't feel that they can allocate more than that because they lose too much momentum. There's obviously, as always, a bajillion people who are claiming that they're going to quit because of 2 extra weeks of delay. They won't, because no person who threatens on Twitter to quit playing a Hoyo game ever actually quits playing a Hoyo game, has been my experience. Especially if it's boycotting them over a social issue, then they are half the likelihood to quit, and the likelihood was already 0. But
Can't divide by 0. That makes the calculator explode.
I didn't divide by 0. What school did you go to?
I was trying to push the Zani buttons. I just heard half of 0.
Yeah, half of 0 would be dividing by 2.
Oh,
Anyway, so they've given confirmation on that, and it's pretty much as we expected. They can't talk about it for a myriad of reasons. The main one being that even they can't be seen to be put out by Japan, even by proxy. So, I mean, Hoyo is a big company that moves a lot of money, and because they're a big company that moves a lot of money in China, I don't know how many people in the West know this. A lot of people do, because it's becoming well known. Once your company's above a certain size, your president and board members have to join the CCP in order to keep operating. That's the way it is. So that means that Hoyo's board are CCP members.
yeah. You literally have to if your current staff are not official party members, you got to go and get party members because you're not going to be able to apply for it because the whole point is the CCP wants control, and that means the
Yes.
CCP now run your company.
So there is no wriggling out of this for Hoyo. Kura are probably getting away with it at present because of excuses. They're not quite as big as Hoyo, but they also weren't embarking on a lengthy process of adding a Japanese themed region to their game. So um, they are probably in the okay zone for Woowa for now. But it seems like there's basically they can't. Not only can they not tell us the specifics of what they're going to do, but they can't imply that it's actually a problem. Um, so they're basically just trying to carry on business as normal without revealing any discomfort, which, from both a business and political perspective, is the best thing for them to do at this juncture where they've pretty much just been screwed by the government.
Yeah,
Um,
I want to go that way.
that their hands are more or less tied on this. There's not really any point in railing against them over it because they literally can't do anything if they want their heads to stay attached to their shoulders. They're going to get disappeared if they do. They'll get Epsteined. But
But
yeah, the content that has been announced for 3.8 is very much what you would expect from like the last patch of a major cycle. Like, there's just nothing particularly big there. So it's definitely not going to have legs for 8 weeks because they were already content light on in Star Rail. It's been a problem lately, and they weren't able to pull out of it in 3.x, and it's looking like with the amount of sort of like rewrites, redraws, re-renders, redesigns, everything that they're going to have to do for 4.x now, that they probably aren't going to be able to pull out of the content drought cycle. They're going to be stuck there, and there's no force on heaven and earth that can change that at this point. Like, the way they're set up never took into account the idea that the government would come in, destroy a year's worth of work, and just expect them to carry on as normal somehow.
and
But
even if they were inclined to try and like super spool it out, you can't just make the amount of fresh art assets you would need to keep new and interesting content. The best you're going to get is like uh rehashes of old art assets and stuff because their art team is going to be dead in the water at the end of everything because they're having to redo so much crap.
at any rate, so when it comes to the 3.8 content, they did discuss what was going to be coming out and why they were doing it to a certain extent, although in character terms. Um, so basically, the gist is there are these plot points which were introduced in Penacony and just never addressed again, like, oh, Robin has ended up in whatchamacallit, Dreamflux Reef, but how did she get there? Well, they never actually explained that. They leave room for you to make assumptions about how it might have happened, but then they don't address whether any of those assumptions are right or wrong.
Yeah,
And other ones like, oh, Firefly has shown up in Penacony, and she's basically going on a date with Trailblazer, wandering around the city. But why exactly is she there? What is she trying to accomplish? The Why? What is she doing for the large tracts of time that she's off screen? She went somewhere to do something that is allegedly important, and then she comes back, and then she goes away again, and then she comes back, and then she goes away again, and then you have your little fireworks lit rendezvous with her at the very end. But what was she doing up until then? Just kind of hanging out?
the image I had in my head for how did Robin get to Dreamflux Reef was just something unto death, seeing Robin and coming up and licking her like a puppy and accidentally murdering her.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that there's no inference that ever happened.
I know it's just the mental image I always had
But
because there's nothing concrete.
because remember, Gallagher was in charge of something unto death, and he never said anything about that at all. But yeah,
And
at any rate, the idea is that, well, the reason why nobody seems to know these and nobody seems to ask any questions about them is because people's memories have been interfered with, and this is all in aid of covering up some other thing which wasn't covered, which was like, what exactly is the family doing the entire time? Like, the all of these different parties are running roughshod over their sort of breadbasket, what allows them to operate as a power in the galaxy, and they don't appear to be doing anything. They're sort of like implied to be involved, and then it turns out actually no, they're not really. It's sort of like one person gone maverick type of thing. So what's actually going on in the background? So all of that's set to be covered as well, and Constance is going to be sort of nominated as the guide through this, who is a character whose main trait is betraying basically everybody she comes into contact with. So, yeah. The Yuri-tards are going nuts over her, as always, because her her major point of contact with the main cast is that she has a history with Black Swan because they both used to be part of the Garden of Recollection. But the Garden of Recollection is one of many factions that Constance has betrayed at various points. But even after betraying the Garden of Recollection, Constance has continued to work with Black Swan on and off, or so she says. So what Constance actually says is, oh well, I don't think you could call us good friends. We're more like frenemies, and we will undermine each other at the drop of a hat. So the most you could say is that we're fair weather friends when it's convenient for us. And the reaction of Twitter was, oh, they're obviously in lesbians.
let's see. Did I hear Fern come in?
Yeah, you hit a bloop bloop.
I haven't heard him
Isn't it?
speak.
He hasn't said anything. His mic's probably off.
Yes,
Anyway,
it was, because I outputted this.
as
So
I
yeah, no,
remember seeing a story about you know a flock of cows.
No,
No.
no.
Anyway, a flock draws the flock of cows cartoons. But he has a VTuber agency, the Sox VTuber agency, and there was a local news affiliate that wanted to do a story about VTubers, and they called him up, and so he had to find one of his VTubers to, in a big hurry, get set up and go on the local news show. And so they spent all of this time getting everything synced up so it worked perfectly, and the first thing that she did was leave herself on mute.
Mm.
I see. We should probably swap areas so there's less dead spots from our wandering. Moved up to the big F off island.
Anyway, so this patch is going to be to build out the story of what was Firefly doing, what was the family doing, what was happening behind the scenes of the obvious parts that we saw during the main Penacony arc. Because everything that happens in the main Penacony arc is sort of like, well, you're seeing the foam on the surface, but you're not really understanding like what was underlying it. But yeah, so that's what that's going to be about. It seems like this, as usual, kind of a dearth of events. There's going to be one major combat event. They are going to add a third difficulty level to the two that Ho-Yo games normally have. A nightmare mode, which is supposed to be like an ultra hard one. What the rewards will be, I don't know. I didn't catch a glimpse of that when I was going through the stream. But supposedly there's going to be an ultra hard mode, and it's going to be the usual deal of just sort of combat stages with particular gimmicks. Though they implied that these ones are basically going to be set up to not be so brute forceable, in that like there's they gave an example of a stage that basically requires you to bring a team composed entirely of healers to clear it. So presumably you're not just going to be able to shoot to Whoop Dragon your way through every single stage, the way most people have been doing lately.
Yeah.
This Cattle Whittle's not taking a lot of
Which
damage.
means they'll probably counter that by applying time limits.
Well, it's a turn-based game, so we're used to turn count limits anyway. That's on every game mode. That's kind of the reason that Shoop to Whoop Dragon is
the thing.
so busted.
Yeah.
And the casual event this time is going to be yet another minigame event. In this case, they are rehabilitating our friends, the Chimeras. Except this time it's going to be a PvP format.
Wonder what Hyacinth will do this time.
So basically, players will create their own synergistic lineups of chimeras with their retarded abilities and pit them against each other to see who's going to win. So yeah, I mean, it's not like there's no tactical depth there. It's just it's still running up against the problem of, okay, first of all, this is not what I signed up for. Second of all, you're going to recycle this within a patch and a half, aren't you? And I have to do it again, etc. So yeah, like I said, the topic of them lengthening the patch cycle by 2 weeks because of everybody knows why, but they couldn't talk about it. They are. It sounded like, without coming out directly and saying it, that they're just basically going to kind of inject sort of like mini events of sorts that are going to reward sort of like 2 weeks worth of extra Stellar Jade to fill it out, so that it doesn't end up being a real Jade Light patch, which is more than I expected, to be honest. I expected them to leave us hung out to dry, but that's what it sounded like they're doing anyway. I could be wrong about that, but that was what I took from it, because they gave a preview of what was basically described as a treasure hunt event which rewards Stellar Jade, but gave no additional detail, and it was just sort of like a 1/3 of a screen panel mentioning that they're going to do it, like a last second edition. So I'm thinking they're not going to hang us out to dry there. So now the thing that everybody was waiting for, well, realistically what everybody was waiting for was for a Rapper rerun, but Rapper's a Japanese themed character, so she might as well be deleted from the roster at this point, because they're never going to be allowed to run her again.
Hope you got your Acheron light cones on the last rerun.
Yeah, because y'all not getting them no more. So yeah, that's a bit grim. So the first banner is going to be they're doing 3 sets of standard paired banners this time, not doing big multi banners, but they have to do 3 sets because of the 8-week duration. The first one is going to be Constance and Firefly. Constance because Constance is the character for the patch, and Firefly because Firefly is the DPS character that gains the most from Constance's support. Second banner cycle is going to be Fugue and Lingsha. So, in other words, this is the greed they talk about in the Bible, is how I would describe that. Because between those 2 banners, you've got the entire premium Firefly team, if you want to roll on every single banner somehow. So people who have deep wallets and just want to, build a break team from scratch are going to be able to do it.
They're definitely sending out the whale song, aren't they?
Yeah. The third banner, which is probably going to be of more interest to Aristeel, is Aglaya and Sunday. So basically, Aglaya and Sunday have gotten a lot of attention recently, largely because both of these units are extremely useful in currency wars. Aglaya being the easiest way. Like, if you've got your own built Aglaya, let alone an Aglaya with Eidolons, you can cakewalk your way to maximum rank in currency wars. Those of us non-Aglaya havers probably still should be using Aglaya because Aglaya is really powerful in Currency Wars at the moment. The 3.8 patch is going to have heaps of augments to other strategies because they realized that Aglaya was so far ahead of everyone else, and it was totally unintentional that a 1-star be so powerful. For those that don't know, star ratings in Currency Wars have no relationship to the star ratings of those characters. They're just characters that are placed on different star ratings, which basically represents their power level in terms of what stage of a Currency Wars campaign they're useful for.
But for Aglaya,
But
it's the enemy doesn't get a turn.
well, that every team is built so the enemy doesn't get a turn. Like, you can't really build any other way.
But
in
Aglaya is
Currency
a
Wars because
one.
you only
But Aglaya's a 1-star.
yeah, the thing with Aglaya is not that she's a 1-star or that she's a is that she doesn't let them have a turn. That's true of lots of characters. The issue is that she scales faster throughout the whole game than any other character. Like, if you get a built, like, let's say Firefly at the end of Currency Wars, you're still going to outdo the damage that Aglaya does. No problem. The problem is how much harder it is to accomplish that context. And of course, you could also run up against Sam, which is real bad juju for that team. But yeah, Aglaya is currently so far ahead of everybody else that most people who are playing real high level play basically are trying to refine the best Aglaya team rather than do other teams, which has sort of caused a certain amount of mild stagnation in the strategy, but not too bad really, all told. Like, I still see every week new gimmicks, new strategies people have devised for playing Currency Wars. The dominant one is still Aglaya because she scales too fast, and because you're almost certainly going to see an Aglaya within the first 2 turns to get you started. That's the main reason she's so popular, in my opinion, because you can get started easily and then start snowballing. I wasn't paying attention and I got beard.
Oh.
But like, Durian Finon is still a popular strategy. I haven't seen as much talk about it lately, but a couple of weeks ago, Lightspeed Pella was also a really popular strategy. A new one that has arisen this week that I found quite amusing is human trafficking aventurine.
Say again?
Human
No.
trafficking aventurine.
No, we don't want to get the show banned.
So the human trafficking aventurine strat is you fish for an investment environment buff, which allows you to basically sell characters at profit, and then you basically build up aventurines over and over again and then sell them to build up a huge reservoir of coins that will allow you to do whatever strategy you want.
Oh my. All right.
But yeah, it's a really fun game mode in a lot of ways. If I had more time, I would probably spend a lot of time molding it in it at the RNG betraying me, which is what usually happens when I play. The last time I did a round of Currency Wars, I re-rolled like 20, 30, 40 times in the last few stages trying to get any 5-star character and completely failed. I still managed to pass the stage, but it was very, very close because I didn't have any power hitters at the end. But sometimes you do get screwed by the RNG. But there's some undocumented strategy elements, like something that a lot of people aren't aware of, but the rarity of character appearance in the shop scales dynamically. It's not fixed at, oh, well, the rarity of the character is its frequency of appearance. Once a character has been purchased by the player, their chance of appearing in the shop goes down proportionally. So if you are fishing, and this is really only effective for 5 stars and maybe 4 stars if you have a massive currency cushion, but if you are fishing for a particular 5-star to round out your team at the end, like let's say you need some more end game sustain, so you want Yunli, or you need a capstone for your break team, so you want Firefly, or your dot team, so you want Black Swan, you can take the approach, once you've got enough of a cushion to do it, of just buying every 5-star that you see and then reselling them once you get the one you want, because buying out the other 5-stars, because there are so few 5-stars in the pool, will increase the odds that the next 5-star you see will be one you actually want. This is held to be relatively concrete. I don't know if anybody's ever crunched the numbers on it yet, but it's held to be relatively concrete. It's above the level of Onyxia Deep Breaths more, but it's not of the perfectly confirmed with numbers level. But yeah, because of this extra attention that Sunday has gotten, because while Sunday's not like a capstone, like Sunday's like a 2-star character, I think. Sunday's sort of like a really, really good mid-game supporter for very many teams. Like a lot of teams that have their best supporter is at like the 4-star level, and you're not going to see them till late game, unless you get really lucky. They will use Sunday as the filler in order to get them to that point, because Sunday has a chance of showing up in the shop from very, very early on. So he's gotten a lot more attention due to his role there, because, while you can use any character in Currency Wars, having your own custom built version of that character is going to give you a certain advantage, because you'll understand how they work better. But, people who don't have a Glire like me can still build the Glire team. You're just going to be using the slightly weaker sort of default version of a Glire that Currency Wars supplies you with, which is not going to carry you quite so far. It's when played perfectly, the Aglia team, even free to play Aglia team without any if they're actually owning the character, can get you all the way, but pretty much it's the only team that can at this point. So people are saying, unless you've got like really, really well built Eidolon blessed teams of other archetypes, you're probably not going to reach the top tier of play. But, most people aren't going to mold that far anyway. Especially considering how time-consuming it is to play. If you're playing rank promotion mode, you're going to be molding over that for like an hour. So, but yeah. So yeah, first two banners is, this is the greed they talk about in the Bible. Last banners is for people who want to up their Currency Wars game and have the best meta characters for it, even if they haven't actually considered a Glire before. Because unlike in the main game modes, you can get just a Glire running quite comfortably on Currency Wars. If you've decided to make Currency Wars your primary mode of play for the game, and a lot of people have at this point, they do precious little else. Just having a Glire and building her the way you want her is going to pay off dividends in that mode. You don't need to buy the whole set of characters the way you do in the main mode.
Good. If you've got her so that you can gear her, that's probably a huge enough of a power boost by itself. Really want to go ham, you can get her E1 and make energy not a non-issue for the early game.
Are you going to go in on the E1?
Yeah.
I know you've been sort of umming and ahhing about it for quite some time.
Yeah, I'm probably going to nab her E1. I want the character functional in all game modes, and that just removes the last bit of
Friction, really.
Yeah, that's hanging over my head, where sometimes like my characters don't get attacked enough, or or Wobo and Sunday just don't attract attention with Aglia, and they target like Trailblazer or something who doesn't need to is the one that doesn't care if they get hit or not, and or they just don't have enough attack hits per cycle to pop just a little bit of extra energy. So I'll probably get it just to finally have that team work in all contexts. And there are some game modes where some rotations and cycles where the enemies just flat don't attack at all to get it off on their turn to keep the engine going.
You just don't want to be dependent on the enemy to do what you want them to. It's
Yeah.
sort of their job not to.
Yeah. So so yeah, I'll probably get that. Also, because I don't have any we're gonna have a long patch cycle, and I don't have anything that I really want to get on a rerun or anything. So like
I on the other hand have a really difficult decision to make, because all of my favorite characters are all at the same time. I'm I'm probably I'm definitely going to pull for Constance. Very likely going to pull for her signature. The question is, do I get Eidolons, and if so, which Eidolons? Because probably the most valuable Eidolon in the bunch is Constance's E1, shortly followed by Fugue's E1. And then the question becomes, is Lingsha's E1, Fugue's E2, or Constance's E2 worth more? Because they all have slightly different functions. But yeah, because Break is my main vertical team. It's the team that I spend the most time and effort investing in trying to polish. And the advantage of that team, such as it is that they all use the same gear. So I can get lots and lots of permutations of gear and then shuffle it around to the characters that benefit from those stats the most. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it goes. It's not like I'm loaded down with Stellar Jade because there just hasn't been that many events or anything. So anyway, so that's that. As far as Woo was concerned this week, I haven't really done much of anything because I just haven't had the time. I know Aristeel's basically been playing it like work. He keeps sending me like every second day an
Oh,
update of his very extensive sheet of tracking the resources he's gathered for the upcoming banners in the 3.x patch. But I am not doing any such thing.
well,
I am just doing my dailies.
it is it's basically just the crap I've gotten from dailies. I've only put a little bit of extra effort in on today, and how that's updates going. Because this week has been double drop for all the nodes I need it to be week, and trying to ration what I get each day and where it needs to go has been in the calculations every day, and trying to get the boss
I have been
drops with the
farming
leftover.
spinning tops.
Yeah, you can never have enough spinning tops. Characters I need don't need those right now. I still got an Encore that needs to be leveled up though. Needs her skills leveled up. I think
Yeah,
she's
I'm working mainly on Verena right now and distributing a little bit of work to Sunhwa as well.
yeah. I got my Sanwa to 90 before, like the last character I got up right before this. We locked in on the banners. They're coming. I'm not even sure we're locked in on them yet. It's just everybody's saying Kona and Heart of
Well,
the Year coming out next.
as far as anybody knows, that's the case, but I don't think that they've given an official announcement. However, I believe that the stream where it will be announced will be next week.
Yeah, and
I think it's the Friday coming is they're going to do the stream.
it would be a prime time to drop Cardathea at the very least, because
everybody's got Chisa right now and is looking for a use.
yeah, and everybody's got Chisa now, and she would be a good way to grind out a ton of people's built up currency. Make sure they're good and empty before the new stuff comes out, because there's people like me that started late that want her, and there's plenty of people that have her and are used to her doing a Carthatillion damage and want her to do a Carthatillion in 1 damage. I just want her for the puppets. Being totally honest.
I haven't decided. I haven't decided what I'm going to do. I'm basically going to go into 3.x with I'll just pull who I like, and then we'll build a team around them later. Like, that's basically been my strategy so far, which is why I've got no coherent teams in Woowa. That's why my main on-fielder is a healer. But it is working out so far, so I'm fine with it.
I mean,
it's not like I'm not desperate to like clear the in-game modes or anything. Like, yeah, sure, it will be some Asterite, but I would rather just play characters I like playing.
I think the in-game modes have some depth to them. I liked the holograms. I thought they were good fun. I think they could be fun to get into, to really play with, because the combat system was just more fluid and put together than bunch of the Hoyo games. But the shoe is, like with all of these type of gacha games, clubbing they require multiple teams, and the teams may not need to be optimal yet. I don't know, but they do need to be coherent. And if you just started, you maybe got one team if you've been playing for a couple months. That's a coherent team, if that. Like, I've got one, and a Galbrina, and the one I'm using uses the rover as its third slot.
That wasn't the problem I was thinking of. The problem I was thinking of is that some of the characters in male.
That's true. Yes, I'm well aware of this problem. I just choose not to think about Timu Sephiroth because I have tried to poke with him a few times at stuff, and he's just unusable. You can't. You
The
need to
game
get.
thinks he loves him
It does think I love him.
and his beautiful hair and deleted story.
Ugly face. But yeah, he's just unusable because you got to get through a 7-hit combo or something ridiculous uninterrupted while weaving in skills, and it's just not happening. Hi, turkeys. Yeah, Wu was looking very busy for me as far as pulls go next patch. I'm farming for the ideal pull set. I don't expect it to go quite that well, and if it will evaluate bad decisions come the end of the patch cycle with Chiakona, because Rover can only be on one team. And having no support on the Karthatia team does impact her quite a bit if you can't have either Arrow Rover or Chiakona. You want at least one. And my other team also wants it.
The odds are pretty high that I'm going to pull Mornai or someone in the next patch, so I'll have yet another healer that will make 4 premium healers and 1 DPS.
Fair.
But I only pull characters that I think are pretty.
And they just make very pretty healers.
Well, they got me with the Dante XP, the Horn Girl, and the Blonde Girl back to back to back. Now we have the other Blonde Girl and her other Horn Girl friend.
And her puppet.
And her puppets. One of which is also blonde.
All right.
So yeah, that's Wu, huh?
Okay, so the only thing left on the ledger then is Genshin.
Let's do Fern's week before we do that, because Genshin's going to take us a while.
All right. Not sure how much week I'm going to get through because I spent a good chunk of my week with the ick and I'm still recovering from it.
I can hear that no air appears to be passing through your sinuses.
It is not. And that's considering I'm a lot better than I was yesterday. So yay! It feels like I'm dying, and that's great.
You probably got it from me because on Monday I was getting sick after going in a hole.
You know, I've been racking my brain to figure out who I actually caught it from, and there's no one that I've met locally.
But you interact with the public.
Yes, the unwashed masses, the very, very unwashed masses.
You interact with, in fact, the most unwashed of the masses in your area because you're the local taxi service.
Yes.
It's like they actively go and unwash themselves before getting in your car.
I think there are people who actively go and do that, yes. I don't know how people can exist with such terrible hygiene, but yes. Anywho.
Nice circle.
So yeah, that's been fun. I would like functioning sinuses again, please.
I don't have any to sell you. Mine don't work and they haven't worked for years.
Yes. So, as far as nerdy stuff this week has been... Honestly, it's been a Yakuza week.
Oh, you too.
Yeah, well, Pirates Yakuza was put up on sale for 50% off, so I nabbed that. But instead of playing that, I said, no, I'm going to get through Like a Dragon first. Get that finished.
Yeah. Pirate Yakuza is the latest one, and it comes after Like a Dragon, Man with No
And
Name,
Infinite Wealth, I believe.
Infinite Wealth, and Man with No Name.
Yeah. But that said, the Yakuza games are still fairly self-contained.
They are, but they do self-reference a lot.
Yeah.
That's why I've been trying
So you
to,
can,
over the years, steadily make my way through all of them, which is hard when the thing is
yeah.
a year and a half releases. They release a year and a half apart from each other.
The thing is I was sitting down and just watching the trailers about Pirate Yakuza and just thinking, this ticks all the boxes for what I want in a pirate game. And it stars Goro freaking Majima. So, I mean, it's kind of like a must get at that point.
Yeah, it looks really good. At
Yeah.
least just from a fun perspective. I mean, the
It looks
story.
completely and utterly batshit, is what it looks like.
I mean, if it's got Majima, as modern Majima build as the main protagonist, it's not going to be like high art storytelling, which apparently, according to the reviews I read on it, is what people were looking for.
Really?
Yes, I
Why?
saw
Why?
so many people complaining that the story doesn't have incredible depth and XYZ issues, and I'm like, what character did you think was on the front page of this?
Yeah. Like, I'll grant you, if it's Kiryu in the front, yes, you could probably expect a fairly gritty game.
At least,
Well, I'm going to say restrict that to the main story, because once you get onto the side contents, all bets are off.
well, I mean, even then, it's not a given because you got. Do you guys know about the one of the dumbest retcon twists in Yakuza history?
Do tell.
It is, since y'all will never get to the point chronologically. There's a point where Saejima, Majima's former brother in the Yakuza, went and murdered a whole bunch of people. And they show the scene of him shooting up this diner full of people because his boss told him to, basically, and just pulls out guns and guns and guns from his pockets that he loads up from the back of a car and just murks these people in cold blood. And he has to deal with the fact that he followed an order that was absolutely brutal and terrible, and know that he deserves to be in prison at least for the rest of his life because of it, even if these were super sketch people. And then,
yeah, it's still a very un-Yakuza way of handling things.
Okay, now 2 games later, we need Sajima to be a playable character again after we had him do his little break out of prison arc to be involved in one story. Well, we brought him back out again. So how are we going to justify the fact that he can actually exist? 2 words: rubber bullets that he didn't know about.
But, I mean, that would be a bit of a surprise to the people in the diner.
And all the blood you saw in that cutscene, it turns out
plus
with
forensics guys.
they redo the cutscene to show what was the blood splashes. Looks like just a soup splashing up as he shoots them that they're all drinking in the ramen diner or whatever.
I mean,
It is the
Sega, I love you, but honestly, sober your writers up,
so
please.
So the mainline Yakuza story is not immune to dumb bullcrap when they just run out of ideas.
Oh yeah. This isn't just a Yakuza thing. This is a Sega thing.
Yeah. So we can. You don't go to these things for high art and storytelling. They have dumb crap like that in them all the time.
Yeah. If you want another, just go and read the lore behind Golden Axe. Just go do that. That will tell you everything you need to know about Sega's writing caliber. For those who aren't familiar, Golden Axe basically reads like the back cover of a heavy metal album. That's the lore. But so yeah, like even playing Ichiban, who is broken in the brain, and multiple characters even call him out and tell him he's got bad case of gamer brain, so that he hallucinates his battles.
I mean, a gamer brain would be a step up from what Ichiban's got. Dude's straight up schizophrenic.
Yeah. And it is canon that he is the only one actually seeing the battles play out like this, because the other characters just seeing, regular punching. Yeah, even he shows, like, he'll take the mask, well, not so much take the mask off, he, like, seriouses up and actually acts like a Yakuza occasionally, when he has to. It doesn't last long, and usually the brain skips over where a wrinkle should have been, but it'll eventually. He can be serious when he wants to be. Majima, Majima is broken,
Well,
like
Majima,
completely.
you get serious Majima once, and it was Yakuza 0.
Yeah, that was pre-broken Majima.
That is how we got to modern Majima.
But to be fair, pre-broken Majima, it was just straight up a badass.
It was.
Modern Majima is known as Mad Dog Majima for a reason.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the plot behind Pirate Yakuza is. I haven't played any of it yet. I want to get through that first. But for all I know, Majima goes to Hawaii and just decides to be a pirate because reasons.
I mean, this
And
is
that would be completely within character.
that is 110% the story of this game. I don't know anything about the specifics. I've not been spoiled, but I guarantee you that's exactly what's going on.
Yeah. The plot I know so far from the trailers is basically he washes up on a beach in Hawaii, separate from Ichiban, and unlike Ichiban, he has his pants on. But he meets a kid who has a pet tiger because reasons. And somehow, yada yada yada, he's now a pirate. That's the plot that I've got so far. But yeah, I'm in the getting into the downward slope of Like a Dragon at the moment. The big Omi Alliance raid has shown back up in Kamurocho, and everything's kind of becoming serious business. All the bets are out on the table now. We know more or less what the plot of the bad guy is, and now it's time to go and beat some faces in. Because it's Yakuza, though, I'm expecting one more twist, because they do like their twists.
Yeah. Rubber bullets.
Bullets. Just... That's an ass pull even for Sega. I mean, come on.
I don't know what the writers were thinking or what kind of hole they thought they got themselves stuck into, that rubber bullets was the correct answer. But it happened.
It happened.
And you know what? Because it's Yakuza,
seen
I
an
don't really
anime where
care.
they did that. What was it? Witch Hunter
Oh,
Robin. They did the same thing.
yep. I wonder if that's where Sega just got the inspiration, because, yeah, we're just going to steal that.
Yep. Yep.
Right, good. I'm off to have a liquid lunch. Bye! So, yeah, that's fun. Like a Dragon, it does have its shoes, particularly in its combat system.
It's just slow.
Um,
For
It is slow.
For a modern turn-based JRPG, I become incredibly accustomed to the hyperspeed button, and a lot of turn-based JRPGs are accommodating it now.
Yeah, even without being used to the hyperspeed button, there's a lot of time where the AI will just screw up, whether it's pathing, so you'll have a character just running into a lamppost for 30 seconds
Yeah,
before it goes, oh, hang on, I can't walk through this, I'm going to have to go around it.
yeah, and then you got the what you call it, the encounter spawn rate nonsense that happens all over the place in that game, where
Oh, yeah, especially, it gets especially egregious in a few places where, you fight a group, yeah, okay, put them down, they're chumps. You take 3 steps, turn around, and they spawn behind you again.
yeah, because they have a fixed spawn point, and there are threshold triggers when you technically count as being in a different area. And if you ever cross the threshold back into the original one, the old enemy group will immediately respawn. Now, if your objective was just to hyper grind on the same spot to get a whole bunch of the same enemy, sure, that'll work great.
That's great for that.
If your objective instead is to, progress the game and move a side quest along or something, you're going to be spending most of your time trying to find out creative routes around the spot in front of some building in the middle of town facing to the east. That I remember a road.
Oh, I think I know the one you're talking about. I can't remember what it's actually in it though. Restaurant or something.
Yeah, it's or the old folks' home or something. There's this road.
Yeah, the old folks' home is another one.
Yeah, there's this road right in front of it that has a pack that spawns just slightly north of the entrance to that building. You have to go to that building 5 times.
Yep.
And that pack will just keep respawning every time you go in and out.
Yeah. There's a few places like that. There's also the roaming solo enemies, where you think, okay, it's only one enemy. The packs take a longer to kill off because you got to go through multiple turns. No, the solo enemies aren't hard. They're just hit point sponges.
Yeah.
And they will usually have some really annoying mechanic attached to them.
Yeah. They clearly were going for the old school, very JRPG when it came to the gameplay mechanics. And that
Because each one likes Dragon Quest, you know.
yeah, and that means esoteric job system with very, very difficult to parse what the F anything does. From
And 90% of them are useless.
from a quick read of what the F is this.
Yeah, like Psycho is a good example of a class. Her base bartender class is basically a green mage. So she spent all her time applying debuffs and buffs and stuff, mostly to herself. Or you could swap her to an idol once and never move her off it, because then suddenly she's both green mage and white mage. And she will heal your full party in one burst, like every turn. So
Yeah,
there's really no. And I think she's the only character who gets gets access to idol. I think.
yeah, I think all the jobs are character specific. Like some of
Yeah,
them,
like
some
not
of
every
them,
character gets access to all of them,
yeah,
except I think Ichiban only gets access to all the male centric ones.
yeah. Ichiban has a few that are
I think
exclusive to him too. I think
he gets a handful. Everyone gets one, but Ichiban gets the shifting job, which he starts the game with, which starts as Yakuza, then becomes bum freelancer in the end. I think
hero or
it
whatever
changes his
it
name
is.
like 5-6 times, and then he ends up as hero, and that's the one you kind of stick with from then on. But yeah, for the most part, I haven't played around with the job system too much. Like Psycho goes idle, and she's just my healer now, and that's all I need. Ichiban I've left as a hero because he hits like a truck.
I remember getting so frustrated with Hobo Man's animation time on all his crap.
He's the caster. He's got to have the big elaborate animations.
He does hobo spells though.
He does Hobomancy, yes. Or I changed him to Singer and then just use the AoE nuke, because that thing has a huge area and will just wipe out small groups.
Yeah, and it I spent forever trying to like I'm playing FGO over here, min max the animation time on his crap, because he just, whenever his turn would come around, it would always take 50 per gajillion years.
Yeah, with all these hobo spells.
Yeah, all his hobo magic.
Yeah, that said though, I know I should be skipping all the summon spells, but no, I'll watch them every time. Because they're all completely insane.
Complete your Suji decks and your pound mate list.
Yes.
I gotta get back into that game.
Ooh, excuse me. Yeah, I'm not going to go for the 100% because, well, firstly, it's a Yakuza game and that takes a while. Also, Mahjong.
I mean, Mahjong's not that bad once you finally understand the rules after about 800 games. And even then,
Yeah, I've got better things to do.
And even then, Mahjong actually is a lot of fun. It's just, it was
Complicated.
written complicated. I'm not even sure is the right word. Pants on the head retarded for its rules is a better way to describe it. But
yeah, the rules were written thousands of years ago by someone who was probably drunk.
Well, and then modified by modern audiences to make it slightly less like you want to
esoteric.
Make it just make it so you don't want to kill your friends by adding the Richu rule.
Yeah, we have Monopoly for that. So yeah.
Well, now that the Japanese are on the outs with the Chinese, if Hoyo ever adds Mahjong, you're not going to get Richi. You have to deal with
it. I hate playing Chinese Mahjong because you get so many bricked hands.
Ugh. At least with
the thing that you don't understand is that Mahjong is not meant to be played like that. Mahjong is meant to be played for literally all day.
Yeah,
People don't care if the hand gets bricked because you do it all day. It's like a game of cricket. Nobody cares what the outcome is.
yeah, it's great and everything. It's still a nightmare to play.
Meanwhile, changing track to Hoyo for one, not to Woowa for a quick second. Who is this strange lady, and why is her hair not attached to her head?
I have no idea who you're talking about or why.
Chang Li.
Her
Fern-
hair
She
is not
has
attached to her head.
She has like her
Get a new
bangs come
graphics
down,
card.
and then she has. Hang on, I'll post up a screenshot.
Yeah,
Uh,
you're gonna have to because the Chengli I know has a ponytail or something, but her hair is definitely attached.
oh yeah, no, it's not that. It's the kind of the bangs, I guess, where she's just kind of got a ring in her hair, and then she's got more hair attached to the ring. It's weird.
Oh, that's a thing nowadays. Lots of characters have it. I don't know why.
But why though? You have dead hair attached to your head.
Hair's dead to begin with.
I mean, yeah, true.
That you have deader hair
Like,
attached to your
all
dead
of-
hair.
If you wear anything made of natural fabrics, you are wearing dead hair to begin with. Like, I don't understand why it's different all of a sudden.
Because I tend to shop cheap, so I don't actually wear natural fabrics. I
Exten-
just deal with the shrinkage.
well, extensions have been a thing for a while and really popular late, but I haven't. I feel like I've only seen detached extensions, like in modern
Yeah.
design recently-ish. I'm sure they existed
Detached
before.
extensions are kind of strange. The more I look at it, the less it makes sense. Anywho, so yeah, Yakuza. I will be talking about Pirate Yakuza next week, hopefully, because I should be finished with Like a Dragon by then. I will say though, I was disappointed by Dragon Kart. Like, I wasn't expecting much. Like, it's a Yakuza game with a go-karting mini game in it, so it's basically Yakuza Mario Kart. But it was so easy just to sit down and smack that all out in one sitting. I didn't even upgrade my cart.
I mean,
Largely because you've got the named characters who are in there who are supposed to be your rivals, and they'll hound you. But then there's a handful of just generic schmucks in the mix, and you will lap them. They
yeah,
don't even. I don't even know what they're doing. I don't think they even move half the time. So they're there just to fill out the roster of carts on the track, but they're just useless. Why bother?
I got to the go-kart track, but that's like shortly after that is where I stopped. And I don't think I ever did any of it. I'm gonna have to completely restart from scratch when I finally do go back and go through it because number one, I forgot everything. Number two, my save file's on the PS4, and I'm not wheeling that thing out to go play Yakuza.
No, don't do that. Just do that on the PC. There's a sale on for Yakuza games right now.
I think I've already got it from a previous sale.
I think you do. So yeah, when I resumed, I remember where I was up to roughly in the story, but not necessarily with gameplay. I was just at the fight with Jungi Han.
You are definitely further than I was. I can guarantee that.
Yeah.
If you're near the end. I was only about 15 hours.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you'd at least met Jungi Han at that point.
Yeah, the name sounds like a
Yeah.
string of syllables that I have heard before in my life.
Yeah, walks around wearing a trash bag, looks like he escaped from a K-pop group. That guy.
Yeah, not ringing any bells, but the name sounds familiar-ish.
Yeah. One of the Gomi Jewel. But yeah, the first time I went in, I was also using the Switch controller, and because of Nintendo being weird for whatever reason, and Yakuza games not being released on a Nintendo platform, the button prompts were backwards, and there was no way to fix that.
Yeah.
I would not recommend actually trying to play the karaoke mini game like that, where your A/B buttons are back to front from the prompts, and your X/Y buttons are back to front.
Yeah, that'll screw
There's
you up.
that split second of cognitive figuring it out that you're going to have to do when you're playing the karaoke game, and it just messes you up.
I've actually reinstalled Yakuza 6 and replayed the intro to that game. I didn't stop and do any mini games, but I took a couple hours to just go through the intro again to get back to where I was in the story because I got sidetracked
Yep.
by Puyo Puyo on my previous save.
Puyo Puyo do that.
Also, the Puyo Puyo in Yakuza 6 is infamous for how hard it is to complete, so I took that as a challenge. It was not that bad.
Let's see. What are we doing for Yakuza games at the moment? Because Yakuza Like a Dragon is up there for, I'm just going to give you the Australian dollar version. $12. The 3, 4, 5 remasters are there for like $13. 3 remasters up for full price still. Yakuza 6 is 45% off, $13. Let's see. Kiwami 3 doesn't look like it's on discount at the moment. Which is the one I'm missing? Infinite Wealth is, 70% off, but it's still $35. Base game for Infinite Wealth is still $114 dues. Why? Man Who Raised His Name is $30 dues. Ishin 20 for 80% off. I'm not sure how or why Ishin actually fits in the timeline because it doesn't seem to make any sense whatsoever. It's like here's the characters we know. It's Ichiban, it's Kiryu, and it's Majima, except they're back in the Meiji period or something.
Coming back,
Yeah,
don't die.
I don't know. I think it's just one of those bits of Yakuza where it's like, just don't think, just go with it. Yeah, 1860.
Intense Sarah Steel, please get back here.
1860. What period was that? That was. Anyway. Wasn't Meiji. Meiji was later. Anyway. So yeah. I'm on a Yakuza kick at the moment, I guess.
My spell effects are currently invisible, by the way.
Why though?
Probably because I was zipping back trying to revive and doing all kinds of wacky, frantic button pushing.
Other nerdery, still ticking away with the anime. I've dropped a few because the mirrors I was using for those anime just stopped working. I haven't had replacements with all the shows on it yet.
Oh, all the mirror sites for like High and Nine Bob were just having they were just having shoes a few days ago. They're working fine now. I was getting caught up on Slime Time. Yeah, I was getting caught up on Slime Time earlier today and wasn't having was a few days ago or about a week ago.
Oh yeah, Slime Time's another one I need to get caught up on.
Gotta play Yo Civ. Is the best background anime for when you want to just mostly listen to a show because so much of it is just yapping about Rimuru's plans for his city.
A lot of it is, and then every now and again he goes off and says, "Oh no, my kids." Like after that school arc, it's every other episodes is, I wonder what my kids are doing.
The kids kind of get backburnered except for Chloe.
Yeah.
And that's starting to get addressed, I think, in season 3.
The kids are doing stuff.
Paul was mining the good ore. He found a patch.
And then you got Veldora shows up and just starts chewing the scenery, so that's fun.
I like how he just does Hadoukens, Kamehameha waves.
Yeah.
Not dollar store versions either.
No, he just does Hadoukens.
He even in the dub he even says Tetsubaki Senbukyaku the correct way.
Which would have taken a few drakes. I do like Veldora. Like, you see him right at the start, and he's just big and hammy and ridiculous. And then he's gone for, like, 4 seasons.
Oops. Would have been here.
along with his dignity.
along with his dignity. And then he comes back, and now he's humanoid and just chewing the scenery constantly.
Just a big dumb autistic goober.
Yep. And he manages to upstage a lot of the other big dumb autistic goobers around the place.
Yeah, the
Of
entire
which there are many.
the entire cast is made of big dumb autistic goobers, but he is the biggest, the dumbest, and the most autistic of the goobers.
Yes. So yeah, that's that. I might feel if the mirrors haven't come back again because Australian government likes to do things without thinking about them. So if that ends up being part of the issue, I might look at filling a couple of the gaps with some other anime.
Oh, that's funny. My animations are so borked right now that when I fly on Phoebe's stick, it doesn't have any of the wings or the flight effects. So she's literally just riding on a stick.
Ow. Okay, no, don't do that. Yeah. There is one anime I've been eyeballing. I really probably should watch. I forget what it's actually called. Oh, jeez, I have to look it up. But it looks like just generic shonen, except the soundtrack's done by Mori Calliope.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that going across my feed, but that's not
I'll
enough
look it
to
up.
get me to watch a series.
I'm not a super big fan of Mori's music anyway.
I don't mind it.
Especially her more rap-centric stuff. Like, you gotta understand.
It just sounds like a wigger.
you gotta understand. I grew up in the ATL, and that stuff is way too overdone in my life.
That's fair.
Like, I had to deal with the country versus rap music nonsense that people were spewing all my life, and I just don't want to hear rap anymore.
Yeah.
You need to tattoo an ice cream on your face.
Not Gucci Mane.
Why?
It's just what they do.
Is the anime?
It's what they do in Atlanta. Is they tattoo ice creams on their face.
That's what Gucci Mane does.
Just why?
Because he's Gucci Mane. He's retarded. That's why it's funny. I'm going to try teleporting very far away and see if that gives me my spell effects back.
So, yeah. Everything else I've been watching, like Digimon is doing its Monster of the Week thing. It's basically settled its little groove at this point. Main character is still a sulky edgelord. Notably, does not have goggles. He has Crocs.
It has to be some kind of crime.
It must. Yeah, it is, I think. Crocs, I think, on their own are just a crime.
Crocs are a thing that I will not try them because they just look like horrible shoes.
Yes.
But everybody I know that also had that opinion that tries Crocs suddenly starts swearing by Crocs after they wear them, and I kind of don't want to try them and decide I like them. But they have another problem, for me at least. I can't stand bare feet in anything. I need socks. Socks are wonderful. Socks are life. Okay, I got my spell effects back. Lots of stuff to murder up here where I teleported to. We cleared out that island, I think.
Oh, you're looking for creatures. I was looking for ore.
Yeah. I don't know why, especially like in Australia, Crocs are just they're everywhere now.
Oh, they're all over the US too. Everybody wears Crocs.
My father wears them for like when you need to make that journey between the house and the garage.
We've got thongs for that.
Well, I mean, they fulfill the same role, really.
Except in a significantly less dignified way.
If you're less dignified than Jandals, you're doing pretty poorly.
Yeah, that's true.
Is it racist to call them Jandals?
I mean, maybe a little.
I'm pretty sure nobody's figured that one out yet in New Zealand, but they will soon, I'm sure.
It depends on who's actually doing the figuring, but considering it's New Zealand, the answer will be yes.
There'll be a bunch of Maoris freaking out in Parliament over it or something. There usually is.
Yeah.
Normally they're just making a fool of themselves, though.
Yep. Though until some other mother can show up and score a critical hit from across the room with one, they're just going to keep being called jandals. At least in New Zealand.
I don't think anywhere else calls them jandals.
No, that's a strictly New Zealand thing alone. We'll keep calling them thongs to confuse Americans, as is right.
I mean, I don't know why y'all wear women's underpants on your feet, but you do you,
Yes.
I guess. I'll drink beer out of shoes, so.
I'm still not over the fact that I saw an anime character doing a shoey. Yeah, that if you missed that, that was in Vending Machine Isekai 2. A character just does a shoey right there. He is a very, very strange character. With very strange ideas about shoes.
My most powerful hit just got no-sold by a stuffed animal.
It was looking for a diggy duggy. Doesn't matter if there's a diggy duggy nearby or not. Oh, hello.
Alright. I'm running out of breathe, so I'm going to shut up for a little bit.
Gonna get some more oxygen back in your bloodstream.
Yes. So, ugh. I need to give this ick to someone else so they can suffer. Suffer. Anyway, there is Genshinings.
It was Genshin.
I do have one small nugget of Genshin, and that is I ended up pulling Durin.
I mean, you do have a team that he can work in, and it lets you potentially free up your Mavwika to be a main DPS, or
does.
or your
It
Bennett.
actually gives me, it gives me two options on my current burn team. Is I can replace Bennett and just go kaboom with that team comp, or I could replace my Wika as a general use team compo, and free her up to build another team with.
Yeah, and Hex and Circle dependent, you may be able to do Hex and Circle buff shenanigans on that team, depending on who comes out.
If I can get someone who can fill, yeah.
Bennett's slot.
If I could do the Bennett slot with a Hex and Circle healer, that would be ideal. But yeah. But as it is with the synergy between Durin, Kanich, and Emily, you don't really need the Hex and Circle buff.
Yeah, it's
doesn't make a whole lot of difference.
I'm not quite sure how to activate his Quill mode for his off-field mode, but it's really, really powerful.
Yeah,
it's got some kind of wacky input requirement that's not standard.
So yeah, I was kind of burned a bit of quartz on him and figured, oh, I'll just do one more and got him on the next one. So that's probably a good chunk of the that story quartz I had built up gone though. So when Worst Villainess comes along, I'll have to rebuild a little bit to get her.
Yeah, the Archon equivalent comes out next patch, by the way.
Yeah, like I think the next banner was it Shalonen and
you don't need Shalonen and Varisa. You already have Shalonen.
Varisa, yeah.
While Varisa could be helpful for your account in that she would give you another type of damage, she's not critical by any stretch of the imagination.
I don't think I really have the tools to build around Varisa.
Yeah.
Really.
Varisa is strong, but you need either a C6 Chevrus or a C6 Eon San or plunge damage chicken.
Yeah.
Like you need
the other advantage, of course, of pulling on the Durin banner is it had rate up Bennett on it.
You don't have C6 Bennett yet?
I don't have C6 Bennett because I got pulled Bennett once, way back in the day, and then never saw him again.
Well, to be fair, I don't think you actually need... Maybe one of his constellations helps out his main function.
I think C2's his big one, isn't it?
I don't know. But in general, most of his important parts of his kit come from just pushing that alt button and have the highest attack damage weapon you can possibly cram on him. Because all he cares about
Yeah.
is the base attack on the weapon. Does not care
Uh,
about literally anything else.
there was one of his constellations that is super, super good. I think it was his C2.
It's possible.
His C1 is pretty good because it takes the HP restrictions off his buff.
Yeah, his C6 is the
Uh,
reason it used to actually cause a crapload of problems. And it's the reason so many character kits these days that infuse weapons say this infusion can't be overridden.
Yeah. Oh, his C5 is pretty important too because it's just straight up boost.
Yeah, I mean that's output. That's good.
That's pure output.
Yeah, but you get 80% of the kit a Bennett just by pushing the ult.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, that was a nice bonus.
Yeah, Durin's good though. Since your main team is fire dendro centric, he'll
Yeah, except
expand your
90% of his
options.
story's not in the game anymore.
Yeah, and if you want to know what the heck's going on with your boy, you'll need to watch that video I linked, and you will.
Yeah.
I also hope you're not in a hurry to see his character story.
Yeah.
Because not only does his character story require you to be caught up on Natlan's story, we'll get to it. I don't want to bury the lead.
Yeah. So I've got to catch up on the story because I haven't played the new patches yet. So I've got to catch up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It also threw a whole bunch of I forget her name completely all of a sudden. The other rate up character.
Oh, you got Yehoda.
No, well, I got a Yehoda, a single one.
Who else is on the freaking banner?
I'm trying to remember now. I'm actually going to just quickly look it up.
What element is
Is it
she?
Farazan?
It was Farazan.
Okay. She does have some teams she's used in, but I don't remember what the heck they
Provided
are.
that she's E6.
Yeah, you do need her E6 to do it, and I don't remember off the top of my head what they are.
She just not good.
She's. I think she's normally used if your main damage dealer is also Eero.
Yeah, like if you had gotten
Right.
I should say.
Yeah, so if you're a what you call it main, Zhao main or a Venti main now, I guess that's where she shines.
Or Jeff
Pair up
main.
with new Venti. Oh yeah, Jeff is he's anime too, isn't he? I keep thinking he's Electro, but no, he's not. Considering everything about him up until his becoming of the Wanderer is Electro based. But there's a few characters in Genshin like that. Like everything about them screams one element, and then they just turn up and they're like a completely different one.
I mean, if you just look at Jeff's kit without the story hanging over your head, or his design without the kit, or Animo makes sense. But
yeah,
because you have to fight Jeff in the boss fight so many times and are used to getting Electro zapped.
You think he's going to be Electro?
Well, you associate him with Electro in your brain at least.
Yeah, back when he's Scaramouche.
You do the Fandango.
I named him Fandango.
But oh,
because why wouldn't I? So yeah. Is he supposed to be on a rate up soon too? I think he might be. But yeah, anyway.
There certainly haven't been any announced.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he's coming back into story prominence, he'll probably pop up at some point.
I mean, I guess it's not impossible, but he's also rated as one of the worst aged 5 stars in the game.
Yeah, he has a very direct power creep in Chisa. For both exploration and gameplay. Like, yeah, his...
And who?
Did I say Chisa? I saw Chisa pass me on my screen and got Chaska.
Jaska.
I had a Chisa walk in front of me on screen while I was trying to look for a name.
They do both have guns.
What?
Well, no, Chisa has scissors.
Oh, I'm thinking Shisha.
Lua has a
Why
C
the-
problem. It has a
Yes.
C. It has a CH and a CA problem in particular.
Yes.
So many characters in this game start with C or CH or CA.
Anyway, that's my week, and my sinuses are saying no more. So Genshin for a little bit.
Paul, you are fresher on the story. Do you want to get it started before we dive into it?
I don't really know what to say because Fern hasn't played it, but I liked it. It's very sweet in a lot of ways. It's very cute. And it had a very masterfully executed process of leaving us on a cliffhanger. I mean, you can see that there's another shoe somewhere and it hasn't dropped yet, right up until the end, but you don't really know exactly in what manner it's going to drop.
Yeah. There were a couple ways they could have done it. They could have done the Lost in Space route. They could have done the comes back later after vacation, or they could do the route they went with. But yeah, it was interesting to see the way they went through it. I liked the story for the most part. It was a gameplay light story, but the only real complaint I have about it is just how long it one section in particular takes because of all the mini games. Like I don't mind some of them existing.
I don't know. I liked it like that because I fell asleep. Well, I didn't fall asleep. Well, I fell asleep several times leading up to that because I was just too tired when I was attempting to do it. But I got up in the morning, and not too long after I resumed my progress, I ended up in doing that section. And I don't know, when I was fresh and I hadn't been playing, I had been asleep, and it was actually quite enjoyable. Like I liked it. I had a good time. It was very cute. I liked every single part of it. But I also hadn't been playing the game for the last 2 hours.
Yeah, I had got to that section and was trucking on, and I really did not want to play Bomberman at that point. I just wanted to see where the story was going.
Yeah, I didn't because I played it broken up. I had no pacing issues with it whatsoever. Like they just didn't whatever pacing issues it may have introduced simply didn't deploy in my particular circumstance.
It caught me quite hard because I was not sure how the rest of this week would go. So as soon as I had time, like about 36 hours after the patch came out, I was trying to just go through it and sit through it and go and get it done. And that section just the mini game, having to play the mini games in particular was what really was making me growl. There are a lot of good interactions in that sections, but I didn't want to play Bomberman.
I didn't mind it at all. I thought it was fine. I enjoyed it. I particularly enjoyed the pinball.
I hope it's a whole event right now, so yeah.
I went and did all the optional interactions, and I went and gave everybody candy. I spent way longer there than I really needed to.
Yeah. Like the there were a few interactions that were good. Sandrone's is obviously going to be the best one.
The most rage baitable character on the face of Tavat.
There is one, not an interaction with the girl, but I got a picture. Did give us this lovely image. Jumped in live show chat.
Yehoda really has been the life of this major region.
All the budget went into them facial animations. Everybody thinks it was.
I really appreciate Yehoda.
She's probably the character who I think is, based on observing the community, who is most beloved as a character, as opposed for any other reason.
He also gets to dodge the 5-star community debate wars that go on.
Her fans call themselves the Yehoda's Witnesses.
Uh-huh.
I should be surprised, but I'm not. Isn't the Genshin community giving themselves names for each character is? It's just the sort of cringe you'll get in this that community.
This one was endorsed by the Ian voice actor as well. On an official stream.
Because why not?
I feel really bad for the English voice actors who are genuinely seem to be interacting and having fun with the IP. Because they have to expose themselves to the Hoyo community.
Who are cancer.
Get like poor Skirk's voice actress who was just trying to have fun, get Hoyo community on.
It's a noun and a verb.
I actually appreciate the Hoyo community for exactly one thing, and that's I didn't have to dodge spoilers this time. The reason I didn't have to dodge spoilers this time is that the Genshin Twitter has completely gone to war with Wuthering Waves because of Genshin not getting nominated in the Keeley Awards, but Wuthering Waves did. And so they spent the entirety of their efforts for the past several weeks just trying to smear Woowa in every conceivable way.
Because of course I did.
So they weren't available to spoil me on the story of the new patch because they were busy creating fake AI art of Woowa to say, look how bad it is.
Do you actually think people would buy that?
Yes.
The
People are stupid
one of
enough.
the MPs in Japan actually posted a comment about it, about how embarrassing it was that these Western video game fans are actually using AI art to try and smear a game that they for some reason want to oppose.
Ah, first time then. Yeah. Western games fans tend to do stupid things for absolutely no reason, honestly.
The thing is that I don't know if they're even Western games fans. Like, they tend, because they're all speaking English, they tend to get pigeonholed as such. But I don't know if they actually are, because a lot of them are like based in Indonesia or Bangladesh or, you know, any number of other developing and undeveloped nations across the world who just happen to have an internet connection.
Yeah, true.
I am.
But they speak in English because it's a lingua franca. So
They speak in English because the call center they work at when they scam poor old ladies in the U.S. requires them to speak English. They happen to know it.
so they know how to tell somebody that they shouldn't redeem.
Uh-huh. Because as far as I'm concerned, Twitter is just made up of Indians.
I thought it was all just non-humanized bots at this point.
I mean, some of them could be Indian bots, but
the
they're all
thing
from
is,
India.
Indians are probably cheaper than bots.
Probably,
At this
yes.
point. There's so many of them.
Well, Telstra's full of them, that's for sure. Ugh.
Apple's doing a little thing.
No, I cannot claim more drops. I cannot redeem.
Not redeem.
It means you've played Woowa too long, go outside.
Well, we're recording the show, so we're just running around murdering the entire population of Renacida.
Yeah.
And stuff just happens to break along the way when you have Phoebe and Chisa doing Phoebe and Chisa things. All these shell credits in these blocks.
No, instead of transforming, I accidentally ended up flying and then killing a bunch of sea slugs that appear to be on land for some reason.
Yeah, I broke all the blocks. So yeah, wrong card. My whole bar now.
It does, I suppose, provide a certain amount of explanation for how Aurelia is going to re-enter the plot and how we are going to end up getting to punch the Doctor in the face. That's also a thing.
Yeah,
Everyone's looking forward to that.
Because his boss mats have been around, and we're like, well, how do you get his boss mats? We don't even know when you're going to fight him. He hasn't showed his face yet, sort of thing. So
yeah.
one of his boss mats is just like literally his belts, like just a big ball of his belts.
He does have a lot of belts.
Yeah, I am totally unaware of leaks like that, so I was fairly certain the Doctor would be a boss at some point. I didn't know his stuff was already
Well,
in the game.
everybody was like, anybody who's in any contact with Colai has been champing at the bit to beat him up.
Yeah. That, and he's like one of the Fatui harbingers.
Who's unambiguously evil and has been teased as evil bad guy for the past several patches running.
Yeah,
Yes, that.
and
Why is Hubbigen so hard to say without sinuses?
yeah, but so yeah. Oh, what was I going with it? I would have been fine if they'd kept it with Revere being separated from the Fatui storyline, doing a two-parter. If they can tie it together well, cool. We'll see what they do. But yeah, it's a whole this patch is a setup patch. The story has set the dominoes up to.
We're past a major climax, so you've got to sort of
Yeah.
You've got to sort of like work your turning point in there somewhere.
Yeah. What I was getting at was it's hard for me to form thoughts on setup patches unless there's something just egregiously wrong with them, because well, they're building up to something, but we haven't seen the something yet.
I feel like it didn't feel like an adjoining patch to me, though. Like it didn't feel like a peak patch or anything. There was no like major climactic event until like the very end where you're leaving on a cliffhanger. But I felt like I felt like it held together more coherently as a relevant independent story than most of their connective tissue patches do. Like they didn't just like, oh, and we're going to give you background lore now. Although as much as Nicole would have liked that to be the purpose of the patch, it wasn't. But the story about Columbino, I found it was a story that both needed to be told in order for the plot to hang together and was executed well. So I just generally liked this patch.
The
It's not going to, it doesn't have like heaps of aura farming in it or anything, but I feel like it was done well to tell the story it was going to tell, and it had a real story to tell that is relevant to the characters involved without being sort of like a weird adjunct like some of the Netlan filler, where it's just like, oh, well, this is basically a side quest, or this is just an excuse to give Shalonen a chance to vent or whatever.
So the while the I am inundated with C names between Wuba and Genshin now. Not Carlotta, not Giacona.
I can't help because I don't know where you're going.
What is girlfriends that we were playing as for the festival's name in Genshin? Starts with a C.
Which festival are we talking about here?
The one in Genshin. The one that...
This patch.
Yes.
Columbina.
Columbina. Okay. There we go.
There you go.
There are far
Only
too
the
many...
main character.
Yeah, there are far too many
Yes.
characters that start with C in my life right now. So, while all her stuff is nice and okay, I didn't quite attach to it as much as it sounds like Ball has, but I didn't dislike any of it really. That was not the big highlight of the patch for me. Big highlight of the patch was Alice and everything about Alice.
Yeah. Nah, Alice is a plot device. I didn't care.
I love Big Dumb Rooster Hair and how happy she is all the time. I love
Nicole was way more important to the story than Alice.
Yeah, I don't care about that. Alice was way more fun.
Yeah, but she's on screen for like 5 seconds in the entire patch. How
Quality
can you
over
make her the main character?
quantity. So
She's just Elysia except blonde.
she's the big dumb rooster-headed girl that made the funny fourth wall breaks. And more importantly than that she stuck out immediately was how much extra effort they showed their animation team put into her, and that means they got the potential to do that kind of crap in the future with other characters should they be so inclined. They've figured out how to make the engine behave like that. They've never gone that hard for characters introduction with custom animations before.
In a relative terms, they have many times.
Have they?
Yeah. Like every time they introduce a new Harbinger, they do the same thing.
Oh,
in relative terms.
I guess they have done in the latest patch. They've done the little magical pop up. Did I just leave that guy in my circle to come up here and kill the bear? So yeah. But anytime those animations when that animation played out in particular, her introduction animation, the little camera tilt, and taking the titles thing and dumping it on the nameplate, I loved all of that. Like, I want to see more of our rooster-headed witch.
You're not likely to, I don't think. Like, I think that they're going to use a light touch with her because she's just too powerful for the main story. Like, every time a Hoyo character reaches that level of power, they remove them from the plot.
Yeah, but that was the highlight showing up there for me was seeing Alice do Alice things.
She didn't do anything.
She made that. I'm just telling you the silly little animation and stuff at the beginning. Didn't do anything in the plot, but don't really care that much about that when it comes to the moments that stick out. But yeah. And what else? So the main story was good this patch. The character story, however, had me in a frothing fit by this morning because I did not read the text in the little notice for the event that gives you the rewards for doing his story quest, because usually there's no reason to read that.
You have officially become a member of the Hoyo fandom. You're complaining about a problem that you had because you didn't read the text.
Like, there's no reason to ever read that usually, because it's just been for the past, since I've come back, do the current story quest to get rewards.
Says about the story.
I don't know how that's anyway the same thing. But oh my goodness, it just, you haven't done it yet, but next week once you made some progress on it, it is especially frustrating with this story. Why for them time gating it the way they did. You need 5 real world calendar days because it just points in the story that I guess you can call them.
Tells you in giant red letters that that's going to be the case.
Because the one splash screen that's there for every single story quest that has no narrative relevance, no importance to read whatsoever, usually, says something new this time, when normally you just go there to claim your rewards for doing it on the same patch it comes out.
Is this an Atlanta thing? Because when I see words, I automatically read them.
Oh hell no. I don't read text if it pops up on my screen for any kind of bullcrap unless I have a question about something. Like, if it's
dysgraphia thing, or
if it's not
normally people read text unless they're like Hoyo illiterate fans.
If it's not narrative related, I usually don't care what the text is. Like, I'm here to play a video game. But this crap taken 5 days feels incredibly bad during the quest to me. Who, especially for me, who prefers to do these things in bursts. I don't like when I'm on a roll with a story just having my story interrupted for reasons I don't think are compelling enough or warrant the interruption at all. Especially not when we already have several examples of advance the day by 2 hours before for every other type of quest. This annoyed the ever loving heck out of me.
No, I don't have any commentary on it because I haven't done it. You
Yeah.
have to supply the commentary here.
No, I'm not. I don't want to go into details because it will be spoilers. But just, I'll be interested next week when you have done it. So yeah.
I honestly can't think of many, if any, cases where this has been to the net benefit of a video game.
Yeah, and I wonder why they brought it back after abandoning it for so long because it's very obvious people hate it.
I mean, I can sort of understand in scenarios like special one-off scenarios, like the battle against Solomon and FGO and that sort of type of thing, when you do something in real time like that.
Yeah,
But
and,
that's about the only situation, and that's something that will happen like once in the history of a game and then never again.
yeah, but just a whole week of it, and like if it was one day, it would be annoying, but not the end of the world. If it was 2 days, it would be really annoying, but I would probably let it slide. 3 days, okay, that's egregious. 4 days, that's what are you thinking? And 5 days is just I don't know what they were smoking. Like, are we just so event light this patch that you thought you had to supplement people's engagement metrics because the pinball minigame only takes 2 seconds to do? What all? What all? Yeah. Aside from that, trying to think if there's anything we can say about the story without Turbo spoiling Fern. We've kind of hit everything already.
Yeah.
It's very key.
Yeah, it's because there's no gameplay. This patch main story functionally, it's almost entirely dialogue. It's
That
hard
was
to.
the only thing I knew about the story from social media, was the fact that everybody was molding about it. Why are they talking? Why are they talking? Why is there no gameplay?
I don't mind the occasional talkie patch. I don't want them to do exclusively talkie patches because we are playing a video game. If I want to watch an anime, I'll watch an anime. But the occasional one is fine.
Yeah, especially if it's building up to something bigger.
And so that's okay. Um the but yeah, because it's all talkie, there's no unspoilery gameplay to or unspoilery things to go into. Although the the PNG with Sandrone and the shark uh is wonderful, and the fact that Paimon took a picture just for Sandrone so that she can always remember that moment was also very funny. I think it was Paimon that took the picture. So okay, um, that's kind of it for Genshin stuff. They didn't put out a new region this patch, and
There is one up on CBT for the next patch.
yeah, it'd be very conspicuous if we went 3 whole.
Yeah, I
uh,
think that people would be rioting about Miliastra Wonderland at that point because there would be nothing left to blame.
yeah, which I think is probably the reason, and the reason I'm going to blame, even if it's not, for Fern's story
It's
quest.
still wasted resources.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter whether or not they think that they have a partitioning of efforts here. They're still resources that could be used more profitably elsewhere. And frankly, at this point, I would gut them and send them off to rescue Star Rail because that game is in dire straits.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Genshin there. For Genshin's banner upcoming, not pulling on Durin. I took a gamble, try and see if I could fish a Yehoda out. I couldn't. I gave it 30 pulls, and then stopped. I didn't want to ruin myself and get a Durin.
I think the game, it says Yehoda's on rate up, but I think she's only just on rate up.
I've seen a lot of people complaining about their complete inability to land any Yehodas.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
if
got
they're
one
loud enough this
Yehoda,
time,
and that was it.
maybe if they're loud enough this time, they'll implement some method of actually getting 4 stars.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people in the population who really want Yehoda and really don't care about Durin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They really want us to care about Durin, but if they genuinely wanted us to care about Durin, perhaps they should have thought about that before deleting Simolanka from the game.
Yes.
Yes. Like that's they I wonder how much of a problem that's going to be for people or for the pull counts on him. I mean, it's going to be near impossible to.
How is anybody going to form any attachment to this character if they haven't played Simolanka?
Yeah. Oh, it's just
meta slaves only.
Yeah, because literally his entire reason you care about him is not here anymore. Like all of it.
And the sort of the talking origami frogs and that sort of thing, that must be completely inscrutable.
Yeah, you're gonna
people who weren't present during that event.
You're gonna get to the holiday festival in this current patch and see talking frogs and paper giraffes and crap, and you're gonna be like, "Where all that? It came from Simolanka."
Yeah,
it's in the recycle bin.
So
not even in the recycle bin; it's just gone.
It's just deleted from the hard drive. It just. I hope they never do that crap again. Surely they've gotten feedback on it.
Well, they didn't delete the resort this time, but the resort is not relevant to anything.
Yeah, Bennett's story
is over.
Yeah, but because it had been so long at that point and he'd already been introduced as a character, you're not trying to sell him again. You didn't need to keep his story around. It makes no sense why you would try and make Durin a central point of the story when you've deleted his story. Do they just assume people will go on like Billy and YouTube and watch the Simolanka story?
Well, I mean,
now?
maybe people just do. Maybe that's actually what people do. They don't care about the game because somebody else plays it for them or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
Like maybe the mainstream way people experience the story, for all I know, is that they skip everything, they ignore everything, they don't pay any attention whatsoever, and then they watch it on YouTube later. With annoying color commentary from some incredibly unfunny, unentertaining streamer.
Do you know how hard it was to find a version of that on YouTube that didn't have any commentary to post in that thread?
No, because I can't stomach doing it, which is why I haven't done it for any of the events that I missed.
It took 4...
Even though there's some really awesome ones, like the Chevreuse one in there is apparently really cool.
Oh, the one with Ayaka in it?
But no, I'm not going to. You can't make me. That's not how the game is meant to be experienced. End of story.
But yeah, I went and dug it up for people that can see it because you really don't have a choice if you want to understand Durin at all. Yeah, and you're not going to get the Simolanka is especially bad for it not being in game because everything about Simolanka is so novel in its visual design and the exploration around that area. Everything is very unique in how it's presented
like
to you.
Thousands and thousands of man hours of work too.
Yeah, like Simolanka probably took about 5 months to make if their team was being hyper efficient with the assets they had. Because like everything there is a new model. Like nothing there is recycled and almost none of it gets reused. Because you can't exactly have an origami and Lego world out in normal Teyvat, so it's not going to have a whole lot of opportunities for reuse, and they just chucked it in the bin.
And then expect everybody to just somehow remember all about it and have fond memories of it. And like,
Yes.
it's one thing if they intended to never ever touch it again. It's like, oh, this is just this one-off thing. We're never going to refer to this again. Nobody's going to refer to this again. But no, you're just going to make it central. Okay.
Yeah. Like Albedo gets away with it to a degree because you can kind of fill in the gaps of his story from that Samalanka in the Paralogism arc.
So he wasn't
But
really
Durin,
in Similanka either, other than mentioning he'll be involved at the end with Durin.
yeah,
The
he had a
story is
couple
about
little bits,
like
and that was about it.
the story is about like Whopper albedo.
Yes,
Something about a giant whopper flower.
yes,
That is also somehow a clone of albedo.
Yeah.
because why not?
It apparently was
Maybe
like
it
the
would
hardest
make
one.
sense if they left it in the game.
Durin, you've got a little bit of background lore, which you learn through Albedo's character quest about like who or what Durin is. You've got that whole zone really, which kind of discusses it a little bit, but that's got nothing to do with playable Durin.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah, Albedo's story quest will not tell you basically anything about modern Durin because modern Durin is a separate entity from evil Durin. They're
Yes.
They are connected, but
Evil,
they're not the same Durin.
well, evil
Well,
Durin is dead for one.
one is modeled on the other, both in terms of being written to be like him and in terms of his meat being involved. But
Meat.
they're not the same person. One of them just has like raw materials from the other.
Mm.
Yeah.
So really, you get a little bit at the end of Paralogism where Toy Dragon Durin shows up out of nowhere, mind you. And then he goes into a room, and then there's a little cutscene at the end where suddenly he's a real boy. And Alice is doing a few Alice things, but that's about it. So you don't get much of his story at all.
Well,
Now they
the
want us to
assumption seems to be everybody already knows it somehow.
That's quite an assumption there, Hoyo.
But even for like, it's a shaky assumption that everybody who played it will remember, let alone all of the people who don't play it somehow having those memories too.
Because that was back during Mondstadt, wasn't it?
No,
No, the core part of Similanka is only from 2 years ago.
Okay, that's still plenty of time to have passed for people to forget it.
Yeah, it was like right when we came back, like just shortly after we came back to the game in Fontaine. They dropped Similanka on it.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe they'll put in Durin's story quest and have him be basically take you back to Similanka and do that.
Well, the
They
Durin
would
story,
have put in Durin's story quest. It's
Have
not
they?
that.
yeah,
It's not that.
yeah. You do go places in his thing, and there's they do shoehorn a little bit of a recap of Similanka in there, but it's not substantial enough to fill in everything that happened in Similanka.
Alice did Alice things. Toy Dragon become real boy. The end.
That leaves out Navia's moustache.
Moustache.
Okay, we have Giraffe. But yeah, it's you'll see Durin's story quest is the thing I was talking about that takes 5 real world days to do, no matter when you start it, because it's just arbitrarily time gated for no reason after
Why?
years of them not doing that crap. Probably because they didn't
Everyone
have
hates it.
Well, it's probably because they didn't have time to develop a new playable and explorable region to keep people occupied, and they put all those flipping resources into Milliaster Wonderland. They could have paid
What they could have done.
It really seems weird because they came out with what seemed at the time to be a fairly broad-ranging dictum that they had no plans to do standalone character stories in the Luna versions. They are going to blend the character stories with the main plot instead. But this appears to be just cutting hard against that.
Yeah, and
despite the fact that by and large there have not been any significant upswell of complaints against the approach that they chose.
yeah,
Which is suggests that they just had they slapped together some material and jammed it in there because of one or another necessity, rather than because it was always part of the plan. Because if it was always part of the plan, then they wouldn't have made an unambiguous statement like that at the start.
yeah, all the stuff of note, and there is not much of it so far in the quest, and we're like 3 or 4 days in. Uh, could could have been just slapped into the main Archon quest fairly easily, or to flesh that bit out about Durin, or it could have
They could have just sent you back to
it
Samalanka for a bit.
well, you know, it could have been inferred as well for most of it. Uh, it's not been a very substantive quest so far. It does seem like it could be building up to something, but at the same time, the way it's been
I kind of
going,
thought about that. Thought that about Mavweekers as well. When was the last time they did a good one?
yeah,
Ugh.
like when your entire story's potential is entirely on this could be going somewhere. We've seen what happens when they do that.
Like you usually, if it is actually going somewhere, you don't have time to stop and think this could be going somewhere because you're going somewhere.
Yeah. With it, you will at least be able to see the destination at the end if they actually got a plan. Uh, I don't. I can kind of see a fuzzy outline of where they're going with this so far. But it's either if it is the most obvious thing that I think it is, it's going to be the most underwhelming thing on the planet, or it's they're going to come swerve somewhere out of left field.
Maybe what you've done so far is just like the first 10% of the story, and all the meat is in the back end.
It's possible because each part is not particularly long. The intro is like 30 minutes, and then you got to wait a day, and then you play for like 20 minutes, and you got to wait a day, and you play for like 10, 15 minutes, and you got to wait a day. It's literally just engagement metric marketing garbage, is what it feels like. And the story reason why is feels like the most contrived crap of all time.
The thing is, there's got to be some like marked difference between it and wind the clock forward a day.
Mm-hmm.
Like why can't it be an in-game day? What about this particular spacing requires that you wait a day? Normally their wait a day things, like they do them all the time, but normally they're extremely minor. Like, oh, I fed rocks to this thing, like in Natlan, and
Yeah.
I have to do this every day for several days running using a different rarity of rock every time. And then the side quest will be over. Yeah, a side quest of such triviality that it doesn't matter at all.
Not even tracked anywhere. It just gives you a hidden achievement and some loot. Like all the time gated stuff. Since I think the last time they did actual time gated stuff was like early Sumeru. Since then they'd stopped because they realized it was hacking people.
Prefer not to think about that Misty Island in Inazuma.
Yeah.
The less said about that, the better.
Worse than that is the freaking nuclear waste dump that takes like 2 weeks.
I still haven't done it because I keep doing like one step and then forgetting about it because I don't have time.
Yeah. So yeah. That's all I have to say on this this Genshin quest. Main story quest is pretty good. The Durin story quest is not very good. And its time gating is awful and had me in a froth and rage about it. So when Vol gets through it next week, he'll see more what I'm talking about. And honestly, if Durin's quest didn't exist, I would probably still be focused on the highlights of the main story quest more. But it just since it's the last thing I did related to the new patch, it's left a bit of sour taste in my mouth, and I'm still not done with it.
Even with all that I know about Durin, though, I'm still not that interested in him as a character.
Yeah,
Like he's just not that interesting. Like they haven't done anything with him in the story really to draw his personal story and issues to the forefront. He's always just a corollary to whatever else is going on.
yeah, he's just Jeff and Albedo's buddy, as far as I'm concerned now. Like
And
I know
you really need to have a compelling character story to rescue a character from that doldrums. Because
there
frankly, I would just rather spend more time listening to Nicole being autistic than, have listening to Duran crying about his identity issues like a teenager.
he's getting to it a lot sooner. He's like what? Well, I guess normal. Yeah. How long was he in Similanka as that Durin before he got the baby dragon body and then the human body?
I don't know. I don't know when. I don't know. I don't know what did M write the story for. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, well, the whole story quest is framed around uh, why M wrote the story. I suppose I just didn't catch the time frame she wrote it in and how long ago it was she died. So that there is potential at the end of it, but as it stands right now, it's terrible. All right. Um, for other Genshin stuff, don't care about Durin. Venti, don't care about Venti. Next banners are Varisa and Zalonin. I think I am going to try and get Varisa C1. My pull priority list is not as big as Vol's coming up. So
I'm going to completely keep my powder dry for this entire patch. Can't afford to lose a single Primagem.
Varisa C1 is just too good of a quality of life update, especially for multiplayer. It'll make playing her together with people way easier, and gives her a bigger
You
gas
just
tank.
run out of gas normally or something, do you?
Yeah, that and it's you get off synced because with her dives and because you only get the buff every other attack. But when you're just exploring the world with people and killing stuff, stuff can desync and you can get stuck with your buffs falling off while you're not in mask mode because you dashed once and then there was nothing to hit because your party killed everything. So it changes it so that when you're off mask mode, you still get something. And it gives you a much bigger gas tank to work with, like 30% more for just running around and exploring. So I think I'll try and get that, and that's it until Columbina comes out. I only know surface level stuff that's creeped across the YouTube feed for how she's turning out. Don't know what the community impressions are, but I'll probably pull for her because she's going to be, if trends go, she's going to be important because she's the push character for going forward, if nothing else.
It's sort of hard to tell because people are currently in doom posting mode. You know how they like to do.
Yeah.
But so Columbine is coming out in the next patch as things currently stand. So she's being baited at the moment alongside Zibai and Iluga. So her current kit is pretty much what people have expected. In that she's one of those not quite but nearly set and forget off-field supports. So she's basically like the Luna version of what's her name, Farina. She's like most people will have expected, largely based around elemental mastery. The apparently this has gone sort of back and forth from a few different designs, or so it seems. But the current version of her is back to one of the earlier leaked versions where her main role is to enable lunar reactions for everybody who is of that element. So if she is the one supplying the hydro, then you can use her hydro to generate lunar charged or lunar bloom or lunar crystallize, which are the only confirmed lunar reactions. There are no others in the code at present, just those three. You can generate them using her hydro. The key here seems to be that everything is built around hydro. So, for instance, lunar crystallize can only be executed using hydro. It can't be executed using any other lunar geo character with another element. So you can't get a like a pyro version of it or an electro version of it. It only interacts with hydro in that sense, like Bloom and like electrocharge. They're hydrocentric reactions. And as the hydro sort of linchpin of this, Columbina supplies that capacity to other characters. So like Navia is going to be able to be used as a lunar crystallized character, for instance. And many of the extant Geo characters have had updated text in their skills on closed beta to reflect the changes. So that's the primary use of Columbina. The fine details are subject to change, of course, but that's her primary use seems to be a support. There doesn't seem to be any real indication that she's got much of an on-field mode, though there doesn't really seem to be any obvious reason why you couldn't use her as an on-field reaction generator and use an off-field version of other characters. Like, let's say you wanted to use Albedo as an off-field Geo character against which you can use Columbina to generate Geo Crystallize with her on field. There doesn't seem to be an obvious reason, but all of these things will be decided by like final numbers and cooldown times and that type of thing, energy requirements, etc. Not really something that you can guess at without experiencing it yourself, and you won't really know until the final version anyway. So Columbine is definitely going to be the linchpin for making lunar reactions something relevant to lots of characters rather than to just Nodcry characters alone. It's implied also that she's going to have various sort of like um, region-specific types of bonuses when used in Nodcry, and it also seems to be the case based on leaks that she has a sort of accelerated movement pace like Lauma does, akin to the speed at which she moves in the story. And for such a slight wayfish girl, she can move at a fair clip on foot
Well, she
if
does.
you've played her in the story.
She does wear moon shoes.
She does wear moon shoes. In fact, I don't think that she can actually wear shoes without them being moon shoes by default, if she's the one wearing them.
Yes.
But you just have to get over the fact that she's a feet people.
I mean, there's something on the feet at least. I mean, it's moon
Yeah,
shoes.
but they're wrapped in ribbons. She's not wearing shoes.
Look, I'll take what I can get. There are too many pure feet people out there that are chomping at the bit for whole feet now, and as long as we don't give them their way entirely, maybe they'll finally just go away. They realize they won't get what they want. I'm
I
coping.
don't think that is very likely, but
I'm coping.
You do whatever will allow you to sleep at night. You can dream of a happy world where you've taken down the federal government and all the feet people just went away.
I force
Would that
everybody.
actually work?
I just want to go to bed with Shuni dreams of taking down the IRS and forcing everybody to wear socks. Is this too much to ask?
I hate wearing socks.
Socks.
Anyway, I wear socks because it's socially necessary for me to wear socks. But the only thing they do is generate smells. So yeah, Columbine is going to be the linchpin of the lunar system. A lot of people are doom posting about the lunar system because they just feel like it's kind of shite. But there's still room for them to expand it. After all, we don't even know half the cast of the characters that are going to be on the banners going forward into the second half of Nodcry. If indeed we even stay in Nodcry for the entire version, we don't really know that for sure. A lot of the names that are in the database, because they will create numbered slots for playable characters in the database, and sometimes they'll attach a name to them, depending. And sometimes these move around, sometimes the names change, sometimes names are added, and sometimes names are removed. At present, Alice is not on them. And she has not been in any of the leaked builds. And there are presently no unoccupied slots on the database. So if they want to introduce her in the Lunar version series, they will have to remove another character to do it. And like I said, it doesn't seem that likely because she's like on the level of the shades in terms of power. So we're looking at pretty severe power creep here, where Renova is a playable character. Once Renova is a playable character, then Alice is back on the table because they're sort of a similar level of clout. Arguably, Alice has more freedom than Renova to do what she wants, so Alice might even be more powerful than one of the shades. But
what we
so
need
yeah, there are
is Dodeko Alice to be a playable character.
Yeah, but then you have to play Bomberman. That's the likely outcome of that scenario.
Oh no, you're right.
But yeah, so the other characters that are going to come out are in the next patch are Zebai and Aluga. So Aluga's the 4-star, is like the Shota character for the version, it seems. Aluga is the default named Ratnik to be mentioned by other Ratniks when they need to mention a named character. He hasn't appeared in the story at any point so far, but has been mentioned a disproportionate number of times by other characters for all of that, simply because he's that other Ratnik guy we know that we can probably trust, but you've never met him. He's the girlfriend from Canada sort of thing. He's going to be added, and he is a geo support, off-field geo support by the looks of things. With and currently in closed beta, possibly the most underwhelming animation set that I have ever seen on a character. But he's going to basically probably provide the entry point for a lot of people for use of geocrystallize, the use of lunar crystallize. So yeah, there's not really much to say in particular about him. I don't really remember a great deal about his kit, but he is designed to work with Lunar Crystallize. The other one is going to be probably the Lantern Right character, occupying the slot that was occupied more or less by Cloud Retainer, and that's Zebai the Saladon Mare, who has been mentioned numerous times in the lore of Liyue in the past, and is a Adeptus, a horse Adeptus, though you can't really tell, who has various lunar and solar authorities in their portfolio. Apparently based on stuff that people who have read a lot of the background lore of Genshin said, and there's a lot of freaking background lore, so I don't know how many people have actually read it all. She's one of the sort of like most powerful, highest ranking adepti that you can reasonably have still persist into the modern world, as it is currently in the time period that the story is taking place.
If there was ever a time where your boy Moon Carver would have a good patch to come in, it would be this one when we're in Nodcry, but no, he's gonna be.
He's just a dork. He would be a 4-star.
That's fine. We need him.
But the thing is that he doesn't hold any authority over the moon. He's this is a nickname. He's a really low ranking Adeptus, generally speaking, compared to most of them.
Just want my goober moose.
He's the sort of the introductory Adeptus that you meet. But yeah, the Zebai is much higher up the totem pole apparently, and is sort of like the Liyue counterpart to a moon goddess, such as they have any goddesses at this point in Liyue. But she is a on-field geo damage dealer who is built around lunar crystallized mechanics. So the lunar crystallized mechanic is basically where lunar crystallized is triggered instead of a conventional crystallize between geo and hydro, rather than generating a crystal, it will generate a set of wards on the ground. This is why I say that the text of older characters has been updated, because these wards can also generate ammo for Navia, for instance, as an example. And from what I've seen of like grainy video footage from the beta, it's actually way more efficient than the old-fashioned method of getting ammo for Navia.
Or can you just like pick a ward and stand in it and just get ammo?
No, you just spawn the wards by generating the reaction, basically. And when you do that, you get the ammo in the current version, as far as I can tell.
Oh,
So the reaction generates your ammo rather than you having to vacuum or run over and grab or whatever.
so none of that weird
And
dash cancel
of
crap
course,
or turn on the vacuum.
you're also not stealing potential from anybody else when you do it because it's something that just happens to your character.
Oh, so we can play quickfire Navia.
But at least that's what it looks like based on grainy video footage because I'm not in closed beta. But yeah, basically all of Zepai's mechanics are built around this and around generating these reactions and dealing damage on field. And she basically has a similar sort of, like loosely similar sort of approach to Nefer in that basically her skill causes her to enter a DPS stance, which is based around the Lunar Crystallize reaction and does damage that way. And she is basically, she is scaling wise the Shalonan of the patch. She scales with defense primarily, although being a lunar character, she also scales with elemental mastery. But she's going to have a set of her own, not using one of the current sets. It looks like, I could be wrong, because the amount of text on lunar interaction artifact sets is rather lengthy, and I haven't passed it all in my mind yet. But yeah, there's going to be a pair of new sets released in the next patch to complete artifact sets. One of which is like very obviously earmarked for use by Columbina and Ino, because it's entirely about generating amplified damage from lunar reactions while off field. So Ino won't have to use scuffed sets anymore.
I am
Well, Ino,
so glad I haven't started farming for Rhino yet.
I farmed sort of for Ino, or rather Ino got the leavings from my other off-field characters, so my Ino uses a scuffed set. The current best set for Ino is Instructor, and I keep accidentally selling all my Instructor pieces for Relic Grist. So
Did anybody else actually use Instructor? Because I always thought it was one of those ones you just bin.
Instructor is a very popular min-max set that people will retain good pieces for if you are like an autistic sweaty player who wants to amplify that those elemental mastery driven things, because it amplifies party reactions from off field, which is something that's not called upon over another use of another set. Like if, for instance, Ino was a Night Soul character, she would be using the Night Soul off-field set, right? Because that would surpass it. But the fact is that Ino doesn't have any mechanics of her own. She doesn't generate lunar reactions. She's just an off-field element attacher to things. That's all she does. She doesn't do damage. She doesn't do drive special reactions of her own. She doesn't do shielding or healing. She does sweet bugger all, except splatters people with water.
He makes things soggy.
Puts down the ducky.
Yeah, she puts down
He
the
does
ducky.
put down the ducky.
And that's basically it. So she needs to be able to do all of her reactions from off field, and yet they have to benefit elemental reactions. It just so happens that Instructors is the set for that. But you can't build her for damage. Mine, I'm currently using like Noblesse on her or something like that, I think. Which is not good, but it's better than nothing. And basically, when it comes to using Ino in practical terms, you just want a zillion energy regen. That's the most important thing by far. If you don't have Instructor set, just get energy regen out the wazoo. But yeah, so that's the way that's shaping up for the next patch. There's going to be like new Trounce Domain, new world bosses, etc. The usual big new area with a whole bunch of stuff. It's just more archipelago basically. But yeah, that's what it's looking like at present. That's, I presume, since the Columbine is going to be in it, that she will get to reappear. But you know, bringing her back into the plot is going to probably draw other things back into the plot as well that have been, you know, off staged temporarily and so on. And yeah, how this is all going to fit together with Lantern Rite, I don't know. Are they celebrate the Lantern Rite and Nod Cry, or are we just going to be doing moon stuff in Leeway out of pure coincidence? Hard to say. But last year's Lantern Rite was just an incredible side story. It was really great. So hopefully they'll do just as well this time around.
I had to go close the door.
I thought maybe you were just admiring Phoebe or something.
Phoebe is always worth admiring because she is adorable and playing with a ferret. But no, but the wind outside kicked up and blew open my door again. My dad was going in and out the house and didn't make sure he closed that door all the way. He does that all the time, and it feels like every show when the wind kicks up, that door gets blown in because he didn't close it all the way.
Sounds about right.
So,
Yeah, so that's basically all I know offhand about next patch. I don't go out of my way to find leaks or anything. These are just the sorts of things that cross my feed. But since the characters this time are all sort of like very numbers driven, we don't really know much about their performance. I'm pulling for Columbina because I'm using Ino as a headache, and I'm definitely pulling for Zebai because basically I was like, wow, if the Lantern Right character is a man, then I can skip it safely. If it's an ugly woman, then I can skip it safely. If it's a pretty lady, then I'm pretty much going to end up feeling compelled to pull for her. But no, it turned out to be a woman, so I now have to pull her, which is fine because that just allows me to go back to my autistic Geo ways. So
yeah. Fern needs to find a Geo character to join Team Geo Supremacy.
I mean, yeah. I can throw Shalonen in it, and that's about it.
Yeah,
well, I mean, Shalona is probably going to be one of the better teams because I think that the teams that are likely going to be favoured are going to be probably Zebai, Shalonen, Columbina, and some other water character, which is likely to default to, for people who have her, probably. Who shall I say? Probably. I don't know, actually, there's not really a good fit right now. Not an excellent fit.
what element are we looking for on the team?
Water. Water, and you've already got a healer in the party.
You don't need. I mean, you could stick Kokomi in there anyway.
Yeah, well, I think Kokomi and
Option.
Barbara are pretty much out. It's probably going to be the Gambler again. But the thing is that because the main damage deal is not attack scaling, you don't generally want to use most of the supports. So, hard to say. Well, we'll wait and see what happens. Like I said, there's still heaps and heaps of characters still to come. People seem to have already started acting like they know all of the characters that are coming out and what they do for some reason. When, there are names in the database that we have never seen before in any context.
I mean, this just sounds like the Indians on Twitter.
Are they all Indians? Really? I'm pretty sure that they don't play video games in India.
I don't know. All the screenshots I've seen, at least the real ones, that have a archive link behind them were all, oh my goodness, everybody's an Indian. Like, the dead internet theory was adjacent to correct. It's just, well, I can't say that word on YouTube or we'll get banned. The blank internet theory was that the actual correct one.
Yeah, it's sort of hard to say how much actual communication is taking place on the internet, let alone on Twitter of all places.
Yeah,
damn it.
Twitter will decide they know for sure something, whether or not they have a clue or not.
Yeah. I've just come to the realization I probably should be keeping an eye on Columbina because I was looking to put together that Flynn's team, and she might become the better option there.
She is definitely the better option for that team, almost certainly.
Considering she'll be replacing Ino.
Anybody who is going to run a Luna team is going to want Columbina.
Yeah.
Because she is built for this. She is built to be sort of like the center around which Luna teams are built. Which means that basically running two Luna teams is also going to be basically impossible as a result because Luna seems to be totally hydrocentric.
Yes. So, yeah, that means I got to pull for Columbina. I wasn't originally intending to, but I probably should.
Salonen, you already have. You don't really need anything else from her to make most of her go. Weapon's nice, but definitely not needed.
Yeah.
Verisa, you have Flynn's, so she's not even as. I forgot you had Flynn, so she's not even wouldn't even help your
Yeah,
account as much as
I'm not even going to pull because, well, yeah, Flynn's.
there's no reason to consider her.
I
During
don't
your
understand
gun,
why Shallonen has dropped out of discussion so much. Like, it's like people forgot she exists.
I guess it's just because she was such a must pull when she came out. Everybody just assumes they have her.
I think she's the only Geo healer still, isn't she?
Uh, Goro technically heals. I think.
Oh yeah,
Does that
Goro.
really count?
I mean,
He exists.
it's not very big numbers, but he can heal.
The numbers are not large, but they are green.
Yeah,
They are green.
yeah.
Not dendro green.
But also, nobody remembers Goro is a character, so yeah.
It's just that it seems like I guess it's just that elemental shred has now been added to so many characters in a specialized sense that having sort of like flexible multi-element shred is not as highly valued anymore.
If you have older Pesh characters, like Fontaine and earlier, Zelonin is still invaluable. Even for the Night Soul characters, Zelonin is still invaluable. Because your only other option is Kazuha. It's it is the conundrum that I found when I've been looking up Chaska teams to try and decide what to use for gear honor is, do you go full rainbow or do you sacrifice the rainbow for one Zelonin?
I guess that depends on whether you've already got a healer in your team or not.
Yeah, and it depends on the actual answer from the Sweat Lords is that it depends on the elemental resistances of the enemy.
Yeah,
Oh.
I mean, I think that Shallonen is an excellent sort of standalone pull for people that don't have her, but it seems like people don't really like her that much anymore. But I guess that's just because at present there is no like new meta team that she fits in, because there are no geo crystallized characters, no geo lunar crystallized characters yet, and there is pretty much just teams that are already locked to a handful of compositions that work well.
And then half,
Because
yeah, 2/3 of the lunar charge reactions. No wait, only never mind. I'm losing my mind. Only one of the lunar charge reactions doesn't interact with Zelonin because he uses Dendra. Zelonin can't do Dendra.
Flynn's is sort of like, if you are trying to build optimal Flynn's, you've already gotten one slot taken up by your off-field Hydro Applier, one slot taken up by Inefa, one slot taken up by Flynn's,